I just want to see someone get maced during anal sex. That's like always. That's a dream of mine.
Lesser life forms than deer have figured out how to not be roadkill. Fucking potatoes. They're still food for other beings, but you never like run over a fucking potato at like 60 miles per hour unexpectedly while going down like the I-9 south.
No, you're just being rude to potatoes now.
Rude.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Cody's being insensitive to fucking tubers.
All right, let's start this show.
I'm on a roll. I'm heated fucking already.
Cody's mad, so welcome
God
to Roast Mortem.
damn it.
My name is Tom.
I'm a Travis.
I am your Cody that is definitely rolling.
And I'm Mike.
Wait, Cody's rolling on what? What are you rolling on?
The fucking audio meters.
Oh, okay. Just turn
It
those
was so
on.
sudden. Tom started this so sudden, and I
Just double
just
checking.
had to check. I got to silence my phone. I didn't
Let
do
me.
that
Let
yet.
me.
Do you guys want to start again? Because that was a little rough.
Nah.
No, I love give the people at home the roughest shit ever.
All right, that's fine then. Mike, how was your week? I'm taking your thunder, Travis.
God damn it.
My week.
Yeah.
It's good. I went back to work, so that was fucking nice.
Oh, look at you, fucking
Yeah.
essential.
Travis, you can have your thunder back. Oh my.
Wait, Tom, how was your week?
Oh, thanks. Yes. My week. It's been a good one. I've been busy with work. One thing I realized, I've been watching this show on Hulu, trying to learn the truth behind some stuff. The show is called NASA's Unexplained Files.
You're a truth seeker?
Well, maybe I am.
Aren't
Maybe
we all?
more of us should be. But my point is, what the reason I'm bringing this show up is that it explains like half of the things that they talk about. So I'm
Is
not
that
only
good or bad?
yeah, and it's never an alien. It's never an alien.
Is that disappointing to you?
Wait.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh,
Wait,
so it's like
NASA's uncovered files?
NASA's Unexplained Files, in which in the show they explain their files.
And it's
I
not
love-
supernatural.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's only
That's great.
halfway.
That's
Halfway
like ancient-
descriptive.
It's like,
That's what it's supposed to be.
Was the moon landing real?
yeah.
of course
Yes.
it was real.
It sure wasn't Hollywood. There's cheese on the moon.
No,
No, we're sure.
they got humans to get to the moon with alien technology. We all know that.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's a new middle ground I've never seen.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, Tom, you're watching a show that would give the ancient aliens guy, what's his name, Theo Papadopoulos,
That's
Georgios
Very smart, man.
Thanalos, I think, or something like that.
So the show you're watching is like backwards porn for him. His penis would go inside of his body when watching the show.
Yes, and then get hard and become cavernous.
Shrivel.
Cody, how about you? What did you see any aliens? Did you get abducted by an alien? Did he touch your pee-pee?
No penis fondling by aliens this week, at least. But the fucking fro is starting to get out there because of, like, the coronavirus. I'm a lazy fuck. My neighbor's a barber. I'm just not going to see her because I'm asocial. But I feel like a fucking reverse Samson. You know what I mean? Like, the hair goes out, and my self-esteem drops, and I'm just like, I'm a fur ball.
You're
I
growing
hate
weaker.
myself.
You look great, Cody.
Yeah, I'm getting weaker. Like, the more my fro goes out, and like,
Well, the more your fro, the more your fro grows out, it also corresponds with the amount of time you haven't gone to a gym.
I mean, yeah, that's true. But like, I haven't had this fucking like fro since I was in high school. Thanks, Tom.
When you were your
But-
weakest.
I think you look great, Cody.
The last time I was in a gym, when it was mandatory enforced by public schooling.
Yes.
But at the same time, it started making me think about Samson and Delilah in the Bible. And I always wondered, like, did Delilah like also like sneak shave his pubes off while he was drunk sleeping? You know what I mean?
She probably just bit him out.
Yeah, plucked them out one by one with their big teeth.
No, because the Bible says it was shaved. His hair was all shaved off. So does that include the ass crack and taint and gooch and pubis?
We can only
is
assume
my
so.
question.
We would
He's a
have to
sharp
assume
rock.
so because it doesn't say otherwise.
Yeah, because it doesn't differentiate. It's just hair. So like, and I figured he would be at half strength if she forgot to like give him the Brazilian,
Well, I'm just saying she was going down there. She didn't like. She was just sick and tired of getting hit in the face with that fucking bottom fro, just right in her nose.
yeah.
Oh no! And
Smells
then
weird.
shave it off. And
Shave
Cody,
it off.
I think you should keep going. I think you should go to like the Spike Spiegel look from Cowboy Bebop. Get that shit.
I'm
huge.
getting there, man.
Oh
Getting there.
shit! Yeah, I'd be sick.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you'll just look like a what's that guy from Coheed and Cambria? The guy who looks like he has a suitcase open on his head.
Yeah, his name's Coheed, right?
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, Cody. Cambria's a dick.
Yeah, I'm Coheed McCann.
Oh my goodness. Travis, I guess you're gonna tell us how's your week.
My week involves poopy doo doo.
Oh. Go on.
So, like I mentioned a few episodes ago, there's this lady around the block who yells at me for smoking cigarettes when I'm not doing anything wrong. We have a little dog dumpster. Like when you walk your dog, there's like bags there for
I
you.
put my
to
cigarettes out in that all the
poop
time.
in it. Yeah, and I put my cigarettes in there. Sometimes people are down there drinking on the bench and they put their beer cans in there. There's some bum that comes around. I use bum with a hard B. They're not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're not
Travis,
like homeless.
how
It's
brave.
bum.
Okay.
He goes around and he digs through the poopy doo-doo, and he takes out all of the bags and leaves them next to the garbage looking for, and I watched him do this. He's looking for cigarette butts and beer cans or something to like trade in for money.
In the
Scavenge.
dog shit tank.
Yeah, and I've seen him he digs up the butts in the dog poop and smokes them and walks away
Oh my
happy as a
God.
pig in shit.
Yeah. Well,
Tastes
Travis,
good.
if you were on the fence about it before, there's your answer. Never give homeless people money.
Yeah.
They're just gonna
That's Portland
eat
right
shit.
there.
They're just gonna buy shit from each other.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I don't care if you dig through the poo-poo doo-doo to grab my cigarette butts, just put it back. He leaves all the poopy everywhere. Like, all right, I'm sorry you're homeless, dude, but you don't have to be a jackass.
It's probably crazy.
I
He's
don't
got
care.
nothing better
Wrong
to
with
do.
Don't give crazy people money. They go and buy.
Travis, this is probably the guy that broke into your car.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
He's been
Did
with
your
his
car
duty
smell like
hands.
shit, or did
Yeah,
it smell
his
like shit
duty
before he
hands.
got in there?
It smelled pretty bad before him. It was
So it
more of like
masked
a
him.
curdled milk kind of smell from all the lattes
Yeah.
I drink.
Right.
But yeah, he probably touched his
Maybe he's
poopy
into
duty
that.
hands on my, unintentionally put the shit on my handle.
Ew.
Oh, he shit handled you.
Ew.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
good trick. Good trick.
So, if you want extra flavor in those camels, put them in the poopy doo doo zone. That's my week.
I'm gonna try that.
Tom, you look disappointed.
No, that's just
Next time I
regular
come around a
Tom.
dog park, you know.
I mean, to be fair, I'm usually disappointed in something. It's not always you. Right now, I'm not terribly disappointed. I'm just. I don't know.
Well, Tom, who is on the Chopman's
Put us out of our misery.
legendary table?
Thank you for asking that question.
He's trying.
So tonight on Roast Mortem, it might explain some of my this dark mood I'm in. This research I've been doing. We're gonna do one Jim Morrison.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, whoa.
Come on, baby, eat a sandwich. Try to make a sandwich.
Pretty
That's
good.
him.
Jim Morrison of the Doors?
Yeah, man.
He's a
Okay.
That
lizard.
person?
Well, you could be the judge of that, Michael.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll find out.
Yes, sir. So,
He's got a third dimension and everything.
for those of you who don't know,
Me.
okay, so who even is Jim Morrison? He's one of rock music's most legendary icons. With the Doors, he changed music culture forever, recreating its
Yay.
intensity and blurring the line between poetry and rhythm like no one had done before. He embodied the sexuality and the violence that coursed through America's veins during the late 1960s.
Wow.
Was he
Wait, which American vein, though, Tom? That's the question.
well,
the main
the,
vein, you got to drain.
The
The
big
main-
vein. Yeah. Okay.
the-
main
Yeah.
vein.
Okay.
the one that we all sit on? Was he the guru that the rejects of the flower power movement had been waiting for? Was he the incarnate of the Beat Generation's feeble attempts at accomplishing anything? Was
Made
his...
some cool songs.
That's true.
Thank you.
Was his human brain deeply intertwined with the inner reptilian brain that rears its ugly head in all of us, really, when someone's taking too long in the bathroom or ate your leftover quesadilla that you'd been looking forward to? Yes.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that. And wait, he was also called the Lizard Boy. So are we talking about reptilians? Are we talking about a government takeover? Are we going back to your files unlocked?
Well, perhaps we are. And at the end of this, we might have to unlock a few files ourselves. But yes, I am talking about the Lizard King, Mr. Mojo Rising,
Ooh.
Jim Morrison.
Wow.
I love mojo sauce. Can we
Cool.
talk more about that?
Well, except with my inability to read out loud. Did you notice how well I wrote that?
Tom, Tom, I think you just got a job at Rolling Stone.
I know a guy. Why not?
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Congratulations to me, indeed. All right, so let's jump on to this Mr. Mojo Rising. Let's see where he first rose out of.
Before we go into him, I think the little bit of roast mortem lore, we talked about him in, what was it, Janis Joplin? He likes butt stuff, right?
Yeah, and we're going to
Wow.
talk about that.
Okay.
That's all I remember was that he likes butt stuff. He's a butt man.
Yep.
Oh, there's Travis with anal-related spoilers again.
Oh, I always spoil the anal regions.
I have
That's all he said.
I have anal related spoilers twice a day.
Liquid.
Just what the human body just does naturally, I guess.
Liquid
Yes.
and burns. All right. Talk about this liquid burning birth of a man.
So this liquid rising,
Oh.
James Douglas Morrison was born into a military family to father Admiral George Morrison and ordinary mother Clara Morrison
Oh, wow.
in Melbourne, Florida, December 8th, 1943.
Oh, Melbourne, Florida. That sounds like extra south because it's Australian
Wait,
too. I
yeah,
guess,
that's where
right?
Outback
Yeah.
was born, right? In Melbourne.
Yeah,
next to
Florida.
Hooters.
It's a genuine restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay, don't talk shit about Outback.
So his dad was an admiral? That's a pretty high status military boy.
Oh yes, his dad. We'll cover it a little bit, but he was way up there.
He knew the codes. He knew that there's the fluoride in the water is turning the frogs gay.
All right.
Yeah, he knew what combination of Ronald Reagan's fingernails you would have to clip to get him hard.
That's useful.
I remember that puzzle in Resident Evil.
Yes. So his dad spent a lot of time on ships. He barely saw Jim the first 3 years of his life. The military was this man's real life. So, small world here. Morrison was the commander of the U.S. naval forces in the Gulf of Tonkin during the Gulf of Tonkin incident in August 1964, which sparked the escalation of the American involvement in Vietnam.
Oh.
He did it.
Yeah, so...
Inside job. Morrison.
yeah, if you know anything about Morrison and how anti-war he was, you know, the unspoken
Probably hates his
soldier.
dad.
Yeah, well, you have
There you go.
two sides of the coin there.
I mean, you always rebel against your parents. I mean, there's always something, right? Your dad likes you too, right, Tom?
Yeah, well, every time my dad starts a foreign conflict, I protest it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about stuff that my mom likes to make pies, fruit pies. Hate pies.
You
pies
hate
are
fruit
disgusting.
pie. You hate
I like
fruit.
meat pies.
No, you hate fruit. That's what it is.
Well, no, I like fruit. It's not really. I mean, it usually cuts my teeth because I have soft gums.
Nerds is
but
not a
then
fruit.
but then when you mush it in the goop and put it in a pastry, that's just wrong. It's disgusting. Disgusting.
Okay.
So I'm rebelling against my mother.
Okay.
How?
So-
How? What's the actionable rebellion here? What are you doing with the pie?
A pie is
To
meant to
rebel.
be thrown at people in a hilarious manner in a 30s movie. That's about it. That's
so
the only
that's
thing
what
it's
you're
good
doing.
for.
Pie.
Same thing with
That's
those.
what you're
And look,
doing.
same thing with those seltzer things where you shake them up and you spray them in someone's face. Don't see those anymore because they're useless in society. Pies need to go the way of the seltzer bottle.
What?
Travis, you're rude. You're fucking rude.
Pies are delicious. You
Yeah.
should never waste a pie by throwing it at someone. So you're wrong, Travis.
Might be right, but that's all right. We keep talking.
Let me get back to the story.
Never.
No, all right. I don't
Back
want
to the timeline where that Vietnam's later. When the admiral came home to Clearwater, Florida, to be with his family, he did what any good father did and moved them immediately. First to New Mexico.
Ooh, radiation.
Yeah. So while in New Mexico, at age 4, Jim witnessed an accident that changed his life forever. The family was driving down a highway in the desert,
Oh.
and there had been a head-on collision between a car and a truck that had a bunch of Native Americans in the back.
Holy shit.
Oh.
no.
Sounds like a joke gone off the rails.
Yeah. The result was bodies sprawled all over the highway, bloody and screaming, cries breaking through the hot and dry air. The admiral pulled over to see if the police needed any help. Hey, I'm an admiral. Could I shovel these Native Americans off the road for you?
Yeah, the
Oh my
police.
God.
The police were like, "This is a
Scrape 'em
desert,
off the
sir.
road.
I know your forte's water, so get the fuck out of our state."
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there was a plastic bag on the side of the road that shed a tear once it saw all the Native Americans sprawled everywhere.
So,
that was pretty bad. Leave it in. That was bad. Leave it in.
so Jim's like, they're pulled over and he couldn't stop staring. I mean, who wouldn't?
Right.
When the family left, he kept asking questions. He wouldn't stop talking about it. Dad, like, what was that about? What the hell was that shit? So his
Yes,
dad
that's the question.
decided to tell him it was all a dream.
Oh.
And Jim
Oh,
knew.
that's good.
Yeah, so Jim knew that wasn't a dream. And he believed that day, one or more of those dying Native American souls had entered his body.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Not.
Soul rape.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If someone's gonna enter my soul, they need consent.
Yeah. I think that's an anime. Soul rape.
Every time I've been in a church and a priest is
You get
like,
some cool powers,
no,
though.
and the priest is like, the Holy Spirit, the soul is entering you. I'm like, no, I didn't say
That's how you
could
get
do
good
that.
music,
What the
Travis.
fuck?
No consent.
He's got Native American in him. He's got good music now because of him.
Yeah, he's got the
Well, good-
drum and
yeah,
the
good
moccasin.
music. Yeah, the good music.
The
Mike.
moccasin.
Let's be honest, Mike. The pan flute and the drum. Okay, that's one note here.
One note song. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, Jim's like obsessed with this idea. He thinks that he's now embodying a Native American soul, if not more than that. And he also probably figured out that his dad was kind of a penis for telling him it was a dream. It was obviously
okay.
not a dream. He hadn't been sleeping.
That's really mean of his dad to do that.
Here's a little message to all of our father listeners. Lie better to your kids.
Yeah. I was going to say public service announcement. Don't tell your kids the horrible highway accident was a dream. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we're
right.
going to be up to our vast deference in more Jim Morrisons. More Morrisons.
Yes. Which we really don't need. If
Never.
You'll see why we don't need any more.
Yeah, I remember that's what my parents told me when Santa Claus entered my chimney, and they said, "Don't worry, Santa Claus isn't real."
I like how Travis has a personal chimney.
Yeah, it's a chimney, dude. It's exhaust.
Mine. Yeah.
It doesn't
That
just
shit
come
hurt.
out as a log, it comes out as a spray. And that's all because of Santa Claus. And it wasn't a dream. He was there in his red suit, standing over me, ho-ho-ho, in his way into my chimney.
Chimney. Oh.
Did your Santa Claus look like a raccoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did. He was one of the old school Santa Claus that didn't dress in red. He dressed in a face mask, and he was making.
All right, that I believe that
That's
part of
good.
the story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So after this event, Jim started pissing his bed a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his angry, ordinary mother got tired of that shit and made him sleep in the piss as punishment.
Damn.
Oh.
How old is he?
He is 4, going on 5
Oh,
at this point. So I think
I mean,
had.
that's normal.
Well,
kinda
he had
for a
been
kid.
potty trained, and then after the accident, he reverted
Oh.
back to peeing. But this could have also been a bout of undiagnosed rheumatic fever, causing mild heart and brain damage.
Wow.
Oh, so his brain got smooth and heart got firm.
Yeah.
From
True.
heart.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. So around this age, Jim claimed to have been molested.
Uh-oh.
Later
Not
on,
good.
Later on, one of Jim's girlfriends went on record saying that his father had raped him as a disciplinary action.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not cool.
that's a curveball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim's parents denied this until the day they died. I don't know what that was. Jim told a lot of lies. But he's a fucked up guy, so could go either way.
All right.
Okay. Maybe it was.
Hey, you never know.
Maybe it was the spirits of the Native American soul telling him lies.
That could have been his father.
Could have been like, hey, the coyote told me about a story about a man and the cactus.
Right. And the story went like this. The family moved to Washington, D.C., where a chubby, charismatic Jim started attending school and making friends, only to be ripped
Dang.
away from his new friends by the Admiral to move back to New Mexico.
Ah, shit.
Garbage.
Doesn't that happen with military families all the time? I feel like they just move around.
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot.
Military
Yes.
brats do
That's
have a
tough.
hard time assimilating because they make friends and then their friends are ripped away within months. So they,
And then
it's
rinse
hard
and
for-
repeat throughout the entire childhood.
right. It's not a very nice way to raise a kid. Don't have
Yeah.
kids if you're in the military until you're done.
Yeah, you selfish fucks.
Yeah.
You uniformed veterans being selfish, reproducing. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
dare you.
Thank you for your service.
So he started getting in trouble
Thank you for your service.
at school. Standard kid shit. Nothing really to go crazy about. Back in New Mexico, he found solace in the desert, and he also found his love for reptile inhabitants of the desert. So
Really?
snakes
Ooh.
and lizards. He'd be hanging out and be like, "Oh shit, I see a lizard. That's cool."
Oh, wow.
Can we pause for a second and talk about people that are into like reptiles? They're weird, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm scared of them,
weird.
kind of.
I mean, I think they're kind of
They're cool and all,
I feel
but-
like they're kind of cool, but you get to a certain point where you become that reptile guy or the reptile girl, and like
Yeah.
the slippery slope.
Oh, you mean like
It
Carrie,
is.
Carrie
Snack
King
meat.
from Slayer, who is covered in tribal tattoo? Are you saying that guy is weird?
It's a slippery slope. That's all I'm saying.
I know where the tipping point to that slope is, Travis. It's when you buy feeder mice. Because you're offering your reptilian pet food that is closer to you than the pet is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like genetically, a mouse is much closer to a human. So I feel like that's why I have an aversion to like reptile people.
Well,
It's just like,
like I had some reptiles when I was a kid. I fed them crickets. Crickets are nasty creatures. They get in your house. They got all over my room.
yeah.
I couldn't sleep because they
Ew.
got out of the fucking cage.
Oh my god.
When you're spiritually connecting to lizards in the desert, like Morrison's doing right now, it's kind of
Mhm.
weird. I'm just saying.
He's in the natural habitat, though. You know?
I think he just liked to stare off into space. And I think that he saw lizards doing that and was like,
Yeah.
I can relate.
I can do this better.
I mean,
I can kind of relate to that, too.
Yeah, I stare off into space. Especially when I was a kid. I didn't do anything. I could have been playing sports, but I just chose to stare at a tree.
see, that's where we're different, Tom, because I would relate more to a black bear digging through someone's garbage, not a lizard.
That's
Why does it
true.
always come back to digging through garbage with you? See the homeless person, a fucking raccoon.
Cody, we got to have hobbies here. You got to get some more hobbies. This is why you're like, I'm never out of my house. I have hobbies. I dig through
That's
garbage.
because the fucking virus.
Yeah,
Nah,
can
you were
still-
never out of your house before.
Yeah,
That
right.
didn't change much.
I'm sorry I tried to lie.
It's all right. You're not as bad as Jim's dad. Anyway, in the 8th grade, the family moved to San Francisco, where Jim enjoyed the West Coast lifestyle.
Sick.
Mm.
He'd skip
Love SF.
school and go into the city to steal Mad Magazine and candy.
A troublemaker.
Yeah, he was a troublemaker. Nothing too crazy though. His interest in reading skyrocketed around this time too. For his entire life, this guy read all the time.
All right.
He was that guy. You know, he would
Bookworm.
steal money from roommates and shit to go buy books.
I would be
Throwing
so
dirtbag.
irritated if a roommate stole from me for that purpose. If he went out and got a fucking like iPad, I'd be like, I'm irritated. But if he
Just
went out
ask
and-
me.
if he went out and bought Little Women, I'd be fucking irate. I'd like flip the refrigerator over on him or something.
I'm
Yeah.
Cody. I'm Cody. I'm sorry. I bought the whole collection of Goosebumps. Would you like to read some with me? I use your money.
Yeah.
Like, get a library card, fucking asshole.
There you go, Mike. I like that.
Nah, Jim didn't like the library card. He wasn't into that move. So, like I said, if guy wasn't drinking, he was reading.
All right.
Extremely well read. This guy clocked in an IQ of 149.
That doesn't mean anything.
Well, I know, but he was intelligent.
Like, this podcast is probably like a combined 160.
I don't know.
Mine's-
Well, we have Mike.
69.
Yeah.
Yeah, 169. Roast Mortem podcast, combined IQ of 169.
I like
We should
that.
actually do that.
Negative 15.
We should get a combined IQ test
Dude, that'd be
and flaunt that on the internet like
Yeah.
it means something.
yeah.
Well, I'm a genius, so.
I think we're higher than that, Cody. I think we're probably at 420 or 666.
We definitely
Think so?
surpassed
I hope
420.
so.
We're all over
421?
110. Maybe not Mike, but
I think we're at 420, dog. I don't know.
I'm at 420 constantly.
Just my.
There you go.
so anyway, Jim here, he's into philosophy and beat poetry. So that's like the worst thing you can do with your intelligence.
So,
Yeah.
was he reading some of the people you've roasted in the past?
Absolutely. I was just about to say that. He was super, super into Jack Kerouac's On the Road. And
Oh,
he was
no.
also fascinated by all works of Nietzsche, a man who cried because of a horse.
Yeah, Nietzsche, we got to come back to him. He's a weirdo.
Yeah. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, he's a dumbass. So anyway, he was also really into the sprouting rock and roll scene, like Chuck Berry, things like that, and James Dean's Rebel Without a Cause. Because who doesn't like to look sexy?
Who doesn't
Yeah,
like
right.
to
While
wear?
drinking milk.
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of pissed off because I wear T-shirts and jeans all the time, and
Yeah.
people say that I look like a child. And like
yeah,
back
I
then,
hate that.
and
I
back
can see
then it used to be sexy and cool. Now it's like you got to go to Bonobo, buy a fucking $150 dress shirt to look and have
Bonobo.
boots, leather boots to look fucking adult. No, T-shirt,
No.
jeans.
Don't listen to those people. Those
Tra-
people are assholes.
Travis, I don't know if it's the clothing you wear, or rather the sticky candy residue that you're constantly licking off of your fingers in conversation that makes you look like a child.
I kind of taste some dumplings on
A little
my
bit of
shirt
both.
from a few
Yeah.
days ago.
Of course. Well, that's
Travis
neither
didn't
here
have
nor
the
there.
beard. You'd be like 4.
So Jim grew more disconnected with his family. As I mentioned, they were kind of stupid. And they all thought he was kind of an asshole. His parents told they told him he was fucking up all the time. They're just like, look, man, you have 2 other siblings. They're cool. Why can't you be cool? And his response to that was just bullying the shit out of his younger siblings, throwing rocks at his younger brother, Andy. He really didn't pull any punches. He was a vicious little kid.
I love throwing rocks at Andy's.
Yeah, right?
It's not nice of him.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy.
Like DMX,
Well-
I'm not a nice
well-
person.
Well spoken, everyone.
Right. So he would find every opportunity to kind of act stupid and fucked up around his parents, just like yelling at the top of his lungs and shit. So eventually his parents started leaving him home for any event they went out to. As part of being in the military, and when you travel in these military families, is that you go to a lot of events, things like that, family things, functions.
Mixers.
Yeah, mixers, shit like that. So they just started leaving him home at
So-
like age 9. They're like, this kid is like picking his nose and putting in another kid's hair and just like screaming at the top of his lungs for
Yeah.
no reason.
So they just straight up like intentionally Kevin McAllistered him. Like they're on the plane and they're like,
Yeah.
wait, are we forgetting something? No. And he's just there, just like, oh my God, I'm shooting fucking shell, eating candy out of my butt. Look at that lizard.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
pretty
the
sure.
change, you filthy animal.
I'm pretty sure the relationship with him was like, oh, someone broke in the house and stole our child. Oh, thank God. That's like the dreams they were having.
Yeah, they're like, let's see if we can write off this missing child in our taxes or something like that.
Yeah. And like honestly, it goes both ways because he definitely went out of his way as a child to be disruptive. Like he was fully cognitive. He wasn't like autistic or had special needs or anything. He was a normal guy who just fucking hated his parents. So he's just yelling at the top of his lungs. I mean, once he even put his mom in a headlock in public.
Oh,
That's fucked up.
That's pretty
Yeah,
fucked up.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucked up, what they said.
My mom tried to steal my
Jeez.
wallet chain. She's such a fucking bitch because I have it on a chain. Oh,
Get
fucking
your own-
put her in a
get your own
headlock.
wallet.
Okay.
Take that, mom.
Yeah. He's like giving his dad noogies.
He really enjoyed his high school experience in San Francisco. Luckily, his parents dragged his ass to Virginia for 11th and 12th grade to be miserable.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
He told his new classmates that he was an orphan. He also began doing this prank regularly where he'd collapse in the stairwell and lay unresponsive for a few minutes. Then he would get
Oh.
up and go around his business, no problem. Like, he would just make kids step over him and shit. So he usually received detention for this little stunt. Obviously, just he's making trouble, all that shit. It turns out this may have not have been a prank, but rather an undiagnosed case of epilepsy.
Oh.
Oh,
my
I was gonna
God.
say narcolepsy, but yeah, that both of those.
So
make
he's
sense.
such a little shit that he's just passing out, and they're like, "Oh, he's just being an asshole."
Right, he was
Give
such
him
a
attention.
such a troublemaker all the time that when he was passing out due to his epileptic fit, they were like, "You're such a dick. I can't wait to give you a detention."
Look at this poser.
Right. So his first girlfriend was a young girl named Tandy. He made her life a living hell. He would take her on dates and just go to DC with her and just ditch her in the city. She was like 12. So,
Oh, good.
oh well. His family moved out to San Diego, and they decided that Jim needed to not be with them. So they sent Jim down to Florida to live with his grandparents.
Damn.
Okay.
Go.
So now he has
Couldn't take him anymore.
now he has graduated high school, and he is in Florida. And he overall
Wait. Hold on, Tom. 1 second.
Yeah.
You said he abandoned that girl he was dating, and she was 12 years old, and he was in high school.
Oh.
he was like 15 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
It's fine.
It's
Still
fine,
kind
it's
of
fine.
weird. I don't know.
She may have been 13. I don't know. Maybe she was 8. What would you say if I said
Numbers.
that?
Like, it's still weird.
Oh, throw a fruit roll up.
I don't know. I can't judge. Overall, I'm not exactly going to bat for this guy. So take whatever I say, however you'd like it. So he's down St. Petersburg Junior College, which is like a college that kids go to who forget to apply to college. I think I should have gone to one of those.
Yeah. I went to one of those.
Yeah. St. Petersburg College, Junior College. He wasn't a fan of the school, but he was a fan of going to this bar close by called the Contemporary that would show weird foreign and art films late at night.
Sounds horrible.
It allowed Jim to be infatuated with film, and he wanted to change his major to film.
Oh no.
Oh.
So now we have that guy on our hands.
Oh no. That
Good.
sounds like me going to the cinema arts in high school.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was you.
I was like, all right, I can't hang out, guys. I got the Kurosawa marathon, and every weekend I got to be a film.
I love Koyani Katsu.
Well, he left St. Petersburg College and attended Florida State University to study film. Excuse me, he didn't study film there. He went there because it was a more liberal school and he could party there. They did not offer a film major yet, as most schools didn't. This is in...
So he studied film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He studied film. Well, you'll know why I made that clarification later, because
All right.
it gets more filmy in a bit, which is terrible. There he moved into a house. There he moved into a house with some friends and revealed himself to be the world's worst roommate.
I wouldn't. Wow, this guy's a bad roommate.
Who would have thought?
Didn't see that coming.
Well, it was extreme cases. He would just steal their food, their clothing, their money,
Can't do that.
their beer,
No.
their books, anything. Just stole it. And
Just a pile.
yeah, like, I don't know. Man. They basically had to leave the fridge empty and hide their
It's a
food.
freeloader.
Oh, man.
It was one of those, like, where you could not risk even bringing something in the house you did not want stolen.
And
It wasn't just like, he might eat that fucking sandwich that I brought home. He's gonna eat that sandwich.
And Jim's like, dude, it's not me. It's the spirit of the Diamondback. It resides in the desert, and
Very
I
hungry.
will pick up anything, like watching out for the mongoose, the desert mongoose, and the rains. but it will eat your sandwich. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That's good
What is
poetry.
he talking about?
That's good poetry. I mean, he's a poet,
That was
future poet.
majestic.
So Jim's only real food was he would just buy potatoes and boil them when he was hungry. Other than that, he'd just steal food. And it's not like he was broke. His parents were sending him money because he had that Admiral Pape check coming in. And Poppy was like, I got to take care of my young son that I hate on paper.
Wait, did he have siblings? Did I miss that part?
Yeah, he had siblings.
Oh, yeah,
He had a
he
younger
like,
brother.
he beat
He
them-
was
he
the
beat them
oldest.
up. Right.
Yeah, he was the oldest of three. He had a sister and a brother,
Okay.
and I don't think they liked him all that much. Let's see. Yeah, he'd take all the family money and just spend it on booze and books. That was his thing. So he had been He had been super stinking drunk the day before, and leading up to the homecoming dance down at FSU, causing all kinds of trouble around town. He was actually arrested at one point. I think it was. I'm forgetting the order of this, but anyway, he went back to the house to get ready to the dance because you can't miss the dance. It doesn't matter how drunk you are.
No, never.
And he puts on his suit and he puts on his necktie and he starts tying his necktie into a bunch of knots, like just knot it up for some reason.
New
I don't
style.
know.
Like, we're not talking about Windsor here. He's just talking like a square knot.
He's just tying the knot over and over again, and it's for no reason.
Oh.
And to be fair, I will say, Jim Morrison is the kind of guy who hates reasons. Very little method to this madness. His roommate's date was in the living room, ready to go. When Jim came out, the date jokingly said, "Nice knots," at the sight of the necktie.
She got
Now-
a clip on.
Right.
He's a
So
comedian.
Jim said something to the effect of, "My nuts? You like my nuts?" And then proceeded to make wild physical advances, grabbing ass and all that shit,
No.
like crazy. So I guess now would be a time, if you're into this, you can cancel Jim Morrison.
Yep.
Anyway, his roommates saw this was happening. He was basically about to rape this girl, and they just threw him through the glass door. And
Sheesh.
he packed up his books and moved into a trailer behind the girls' dormitory the next day. And he spent a lot of time looking through a telescope for that semester. Keeping tabs.
Really?
Wow, he's a
Damn,
creep.
Jim.
Class A.
Yeah, what the fuck? I didn't know that.
Of course he didn't. That was very Mike. You got to read all the books for that one. I would
man,
have.
that was-
I tripped over Jim Morrison's book collection to find that information out.
Yeah. Tom is in the footnotes.
So wait, is he just a drunk at this point, or is he starting to use other? We're in the 60s, right?
Yeah, we're in the 60s now. I think this is like 61, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he using other drugs, or is he just like a fucking raging raper drug?
He's a drunk. He's like he's more Kerouac style. He's also young. I think he's like 18.
Okay.
Like I said, Jim did get arrested while FSU. He got drunk and rowdy at a football game and stole someone's umbrella. The event wasn't even that crazy, and he had the charges dropped. No big deal.
Yeah.
All
Who
right.
doesn't steal an umbrella? We've all stolen an umbrella
right.
before.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
I've done a
Yeah,
lot
that's
worse
true.
than steal an umbrella, so I shan't cast stones.
You steal an umbrella and do a line of coke off of it?
Allegedly.
Maybe.
Right. So, I wrote a sentence that doesn't make any sense. It's so
Awesome.
artistic.
Read it.
I love when that happens.
Just read
He
it.
was here. This is the sentence unedited. He was over. Oh no, it does kind of make sense. He was over going to that school, so he hitchhiked across America with a buddy to visit his parents. I don't know why I was reading that wrong. I am
It's a
dyslexic, by the way.
Perfectly grammatically sound
Yeah, it
sentence, my friend.
sounds.
I know.
Yeah, it sounded
Pretty.
fun.
I told you guys I am dyslexic. It is so
All
hard
right.
for me to do this. I have to operate
Keep
on 10.
drinking.
It's why I'm a champion. I drink so much Gatorade to get through these scripts.
Well, see, yeah, I'm also a little dyslexic, especially when it comes to numbers. You probably noticed that because I always say the wrong dates. But I feel like the more I drink, the more unjumbled the letters get. You know what I
All
mean?
right,
It's like
well-
backwards,
Oh.
like calibrating, right? Like
As your editor, I would have to say that that's wrong.
Thanks, Tom, for making me sound intelligent.
You're welcome. Anyway, like I said, I'll go back into the sentence as it has to do with the story. He was over going to that school, so he hitchhiked across America with a buddy to visit his parents. He wanted to experience his own on-the-road situation, just as Jack Kerouac had done.
So cool.
Not really much happened. I think he got beat up by a redneck at some point, but not much to report.
So cool.
When he showed up to his parents' house, his mother wouldn't let him in the house unless he went and got a haircut first. He then told them he wanted to go to UCLA to study film, and they laughed him out of the room.
Yeah, that's a good parental response.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As becoming a film major in the 1960s was entirely for goofballs, unlike today where becoming a film major is for pretentious goofballs.
Yeah, well, all right. So, as someone that, went to film school, right?
You're a pretentious goofball.
I'm a
not?
pretentious goofball, yes. I feel like it almost makes more sense to go to UCLA back in, 1962 than it does nowadays. Because, nowadays, you're just going to get some jerk-off professor that's going to be like, you ever hear about Martin Scorsese? He's great. He's got good films. Whereas back in the day, there was, an entry, you know what I mean? You had to buy film. You had to, go through the studio process. Now it's I don't know. You just do TikTok videos. There you go.
Yeah,
you're great.
Travis, honestly, man, at no point in history should anyone have ever gone to school for film. I like film. I think people should make film. Should they major in film? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
They should just watch some.
Where do they go?
Where do
they go then?
Dude, I don't know.
What should the major be if not film? Just media in general?
Let's put it this way. I get paid to make music for jingles and television, shit like that. I can go to school for that. You don't need to. You just need to work on it. It's a hobby.
Like a guild or a trade?
Yeah, well,
it's like a hobby. If you get good at a hobby, then you try to make money doing it. If you're not good at it, then you can't make money. That's it.
Well,
don't try to justify it by going to school. You're going to be incredibly disappointed.
Well, all right, Tom. I think the whole point of film school, though, is that you'll have to give at least 42% less blowjobs to get into the industry if you go to film school.
That.
No. They get you accustomed to the blowjobs. The blowjobs are ready. They tell you that you need to give blowjobs. If you don't do it, then they're like a piñata.
Well, at least you're good at it.
When you take a first crack at making a film, all of a sudden you get all these producers exploding in your face.
So it's like executive producer fellatio 101.
So that's the thing, is film school gets you ready for the shitty industry that is the film industry.
Okay, fair enough. I believe that
or else you're gonna be like, what is it, Robert Rodriguez, who had to cut his skin off and probably give blowjobs to make his movies.
Really?
I would rather cut my skin off for the medical money than go to school for it. I'd much rather do that. What the fuck do I need skin for? But I need my time. I need to respect my time.
Yeah.
Time is money.
All right, so he wants to go to
Skin
film
is
school.
money.
Right. Sorry for getting all preachy, but man,
No.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Also, after doing this research shit, I realized how useless a UCLA film degree was at the time. There was you know who came out of that? Francis Ford Coppola from this time period. That's it.
He's all right.
Wait,
There are thousands of kids enrolling to do this, and there's one director.
Didn't Lucas also go to UCLA?
I don't know. I mean, that fucking football probably went up his own ass to go to school. I have no fucking idea. It doesn't matter. The point is, if you want to make film, you make film. With his tail between his legs, he hitchhiked back to Florida State for one more semester. And then in 1964, he secretly enrolled in UCLA, and all was right in Jim's world. He was now surrounded by hippies and weirdos.
Cool.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, far out, man. You said you're a Native American lizard. So is my cousin.
Small circles. I like this.
Now, by friend accounts, Jim didn't really want to be in any school at all, but he wanted to go for something he liked, A. B, he wanted to stay enrolled so he could avoid the draft.
And vagina. C.
Yes.
Right?
That is a huge reason.
He's perving on the fucking school, the women's dorms, right?
Right. Yeah, staying out of the draft and getting vagina, noble causes.
Yeah. It's better than cutting
Mutually
your big
exclusive.
toe off or your dick.
Yes.
Right. So these classes were where Jim met future Doors keyboard player Ray Manzarek.
Hmm.
Ray was an older student who already had a degree, and he was just the older guy who wore a suit.
I like the keyboard player. Some good keyboard player.
He's underrated.
He's, the Doors got a good one, I guess.
Yeah.
He was drawn to Jim's strangeness upon meeting him. Ray was a classically trained, jazz-informed piano player who was playing in a bar band with his brothers called Rick and the Ravens. Ray wanted to... Rick and Morty and the Ravens, yes. Very funny. Extremely funny.
He was like, guess what? Like, I got a piano pickle. It's made out of pickles.
Funniest shit I ever saw.
That is a very funny show if you don't know how to read at all. And I only know how to read some, so I don't like it.
I can't read it all, so I love it.
Yeah.
Tom, though, I've seen so many YouTubers say how if you don't like Rick and Morty, you're not intelligent. This is the most intelligent show
Oh, they're
that
saying
has
that now.
existed since the beginning of the Doors. When the guy wrote, that is the most intelligent line of piano you can play. Therefore, Pickle Rick is funny.
Mhm.
I can't argue that. At all.
Infallible.
That's how it is. What you say is exactly
I'm
how
sorry
it is.
I speak truth.
Right. So anyway,
I understand.
Ray wanted to utilize Jim's charisma somehow. He just didn't know how. He's trying to figure it out,
Uh-huh.
Jim was not very good with the whole film thing. He was terrible at it. He proved himself technically worthless by not being able to edit or use a camera or even know what lights were.
What?
Yeah, he went through this whole program and somehow graduated. He only made one film, and it was terrible. The staff actually threw it out.
Wow.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, it was.
Wow, that's harsh.
The faculty agreed it was the worst student film to come out of UCLA to date, and the film was thrown out. There's no traces of it whatsoever. He
Holy
didn't use a
shit.
script.
Probably a bunch of lizards.
It was his final. It was the only one he did. He was a useless filmmaker. He just sucked.
Why do you need lights, bro? There's the sun. It's like a free light. Why waste energy, bro?
Yeah, right?
Free light.
And of course, there are people in the book I read, which is I actually forgot the name of the book. I forgot to write in the script, but it's something about Jim Morrison.
Good.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now.
All right.
Yeah, where all of his friends were like, well, I remember sitting in that class seeing the film, and it was very amazing. And people didn't get it. And part of me is just like, you're an idiot. You're friends with Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison, Life, Death, Legend by Stephen Davis. It's a pretty good book,
Pretentious.
but honestly, a lot of it is just like recounting of shows and what went wrong and what went right. So maybe I could have read a 50-page version of that book instead of a 350-page version of that. Anyway, Travis, what are you eating? A peep?
I'm eating
Bell.
a little peep.
Well, that's good.
I mean, ice cream.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Should we do food reviews?
No.
I mean, I already did, but
I mean,
Chef
you already did that. Yeah. We're good. We're good for at least 2 years from that, Travis.
All right. This is also the time period when Jim was introduced to LSD by a pal named Felix Venable. Felix
Hell yeah.
was a much older and no, he wasn't even a student, I don't think. He was just much older, and he was a part-time homeless man who
Oh.
would sleep under the boardwalk.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
LSD and heavy boozing was Felix's game, and Jim loved Felix's game.
I think, people say like dreams. What's your dream house? Under the boardwalk. Under the boardwalk. Where the
Yeah.
child clowns chill. Under the boardwalk. I'm gonna eat some bologna under the boardwalk. Boardwalk.
Yeah.
So, Jim adopted this hobo lifestyle because it was very artsy, and he had also been reading all this poetry and writing his own poetry.
No.
So now he's just that guy. He's rarely sober, usually starting his day with a cup of gin.
Ah.
just a cup of gin, not even like an Irish coffee or anything like that. Just
No, just that Christmas
Gin.
tree in a cup.
wow.
Damn.
It's something a
That's
little
rough.
bit dire about having a cup of gin, not a glass of gin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little bit more dire. It's just like, what do you want? Give me a cup of gin.
Yeah, I'm picturing one of
man.
those prison cups, right? That you rattle on the cages. Just a big old
Yeah, the little tin cup.
Little sippy cup.
sippy cup of gin, please. Sippy
That's a
cups are
different type of
smart. I mean,
dire.
I don't know why they just market sippy cups towards children. Sippy cups should be marketed towards adults.
Yeah, in bars. You
So
can't get
relabel them
roofied.
sip cups.
You can't get roofied if you're sipping from a sippy cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't spill a Bloody Mary all over your penis when you're drinking a sippy cup.
I mean, you can. It'll just take fucking forever, Travis.
It'll be a slow drizzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Jim's drunken benders, he'd go out on loud racist rants on the Venice Beach boardwalk.
I mean, that's how you cap that off.
Well, yeah, he always had a bit of a southern racist streak in him, and it would definitely come out during a lot of his heavy drinking binges. That he did for his entire life.
Okay.
Loved
What a dirtbag.
doing that.
Spoilers, Tom.
Yeah.
This is also another 27 club, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, well, look at that. Thanks, Travis.
During this hazy time of Jim's life, just after graduating UCLA, he told his buddy Ray Manzarek that he was going to go live in New York, where the film standards were extra, extra low. Perfect for Jim's participation, mostly in due to part to sticky flypaper mannequin artist extraordinaire Andy Warhol.
Oh, we know about him.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a networking episode.
He was good at films.
no, he wasn't. No, he was real bad.
I just hate the term "good at films."
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Warhol had that one Sleep, which is like he filmed his friend sleeping for 8 hours and then presented it as a film.
People need to see these
Really?
things, Tom.
Yeah.
People need to see these things. He would have made so much revenue if he was living in the age of YouTube.
Oh, definitely.
No,
You just vlog himself. He'd be an influencer.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So Ray was saddened by this news and gave up all hope of ever working with his strange poet friend, Jim Morrison.
oh, wait.
I gotta
But-
hang out with the crabs under the boardwalk now again. No. Oh, no. They bite me in the sleep.
That sounds like fun, though.
Crabs don't bite, Travis.
No, these ones do. They don't
You
even
bury
use
yourself
their
in the
claws.
sand.
They bite. You've never tried to sleep next to crabs. They bite you. They give little love nibbles.
I love you.
Get your toe out of my mouth, or vice versa.
But Jim did never go to New York. Instead, he decided to go full-on homeless, where the homeless thrive most, which is Venice Beach, California.
Good career choice.
Yes, absolutely. Mike, I know you've been looking into that career for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Mike,
It's got a lot of options.
Very hard.
Mike, come to Portland. There's very lucrative real estate next to the freeway here.
Oh, yeah? I got the perfect box for that.
Well, fucking Hawaii, no winters. The food pretty much comes out of the ocean and falls out of the trees. Think about that, Mike.
I might
come
go
over here.
About to go Hawaii. What the fuck?
Come over here.
Live on the beach with a little tent.
Cody and I, homeless real estate agents.
That's a good reality show.
With nothing to gain, you have nothing
Yeah.
to lose.
15% of zero is
Hey.
zero.
So anyway, he gave up his apartment that his parents paid for and lived on the roof of another apartment building that his buddy was the super of.
Roof living, all right.
Yeah, he barely ate, bathed in the ocean, used his telescope to be a peeping Tom, took LSD almost daily, and wrote down his ideas. Some of them would become Door songs later on.
So, but also,
How about
here's
that?
the thing: is he's homeless by choice, right? Because his parents can still give him money,
Yeah.
right? He's not just
Yeah.
like I can't afford to live somewhere. He's like, I just want to be a cool kid.
Yeah,
He probably had in the back of his mind he had something to fall back on, so it's like not as hard. Maybe.
that's what a lot of the 60s kids are guilty of.
Just
They're
being an
like, oh,
urban
free love and all
outdoorsman.
that shit. And it's just like, well, your parents could just pay the equivalent of $50 today to make sure that you're not homeless.
Yeah.
And
You
we're
could
fine.
adopt today, in today's standard,
Yeah.
you could adopt like a penguin or like a polar bear for the same price that you could support a child in their like early 20s.
Yeah, that's true.
You could
Um,
fucking sell children back in the day.
Yeah.
So now, walking down the boardwalk of Venice Beach, shoeless and tripping, he would recreate himself. He was no longer the pudgy, awkward film student, but he had become the sexy, anorexic lizard boy that fronted
Ooh.
one of the best-known bands of all time.
The transformation is complete.
Yep.
Crazy
Wow.
journey.
Now, when he was in college, he liked to eat a lot. So when I said he stole food, he stole a lot of food. He was a fat boy.
Really? He was fat?
Yeah, it took him like 6 months 4 months of just not eating anything but gin
That's
and
how you do
acid
it.
to become that
Yeah.
sex icon.
I need to get on that weight loss program. Jim
Oh, yeah.
Morrison weight loss.
Yeah, he's counting the points on each tab of acid. Like, oh, that was 0. This is 0 points. Oh, look at that. I've had 0 points all day.
That's some fast results. 4 months.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
but acid is not keto because they usually put it on sugar cubes. So you fucked up.
Well, I don't
Look
want to
at
get a Bowflex.
All right, Mike, don't get Bowflex. See what happens.
Not sponsored by
All right.
Netflix.
One day, while meditating on the beach, Ray Manzarek is surprised to see his pal Jim, who is in fact not in New York, but on the beach, being a
Oh,
hobo.
weird. Didn't tell his friend?
No, he just told his friend Ray, he was like, I'm going to go live in New York, and then decided to live on a building.
And meditate on beaches.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm talking about Ray is meditating.
Oh, okay.
Ray, the 3 other guys in the Doors, they love meditating. It's very annoying.
Oh.
The 2 got to talking, and Jim told Ray that he had been writing songs.
Uh-huh.
So after some prodding, Ray's like, hey, why don't you sing me a song? Because it's 1966, and that's shit that men do to each other.
Yeah, that's the way you said that was like sexually like implicative or something. Like, how about you sing me a
Yeah,
song?
and then Jim's like, bop, 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 bop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everybody.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
man.
it. That's what he did. So he
Genius.
sang Ray a song that will later become known as Moonlight Drive.
Oh.
Jim already had an idea for the name, to name the band The Doors in his head for a musical project. It was taken from the title of an Aldous Huxley book, The Doors of Perception, itself a reference to a quote by William Blake.
Wow.
Oh,
Great.
They did it.
Derivative.
So, Ray invited Jim to live on his house. Excuse me, not his house, at his apartment that his girlfriend was paying for, mostly to keep an eye on him because he was basically a crazy homeless man. Like, this is going to work out great. You should
shove
come
him
on with
in an
me. So,
apartment.
'cause you don't
Yeah,
have
he
a
could
phone.
sing though.
What's that?
He could sing though.
Could
I
he?
guess somewhat. I don't know. It's cool songs, I guess.
Yeah, he could sing and he
Who
could write
knows?
words.
Maybe- Yeah, but he's still crazy.
Good contribution, Mike. Thank
Riders at 7-Eleven. Riders
So the
at
verse-
7-Eleven.
So the Doors' first incarnation had Ray's 2 brothers, Rick and Jim, in on drums and guitar. The band practiced at UCLA's music room. After a short time of dealing with Jim Morrison's questionable behavior, like frequent acid trips and nonstop mumbling and complete lack of eye contact, Ray's brothers left the band.
Mm.
The smart Doors members.
Quit the Doors immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They shut that door.
Oh no.
Oh!
Well, we're done here. Roastmortem.com/Patreon. Is that how that goes? No, it's not.
Something like that. Ray then recruited John Densmore, a fellow meditation classmate. John never liked Jim, but he was a good drummer. And honestly, No one really enjoyed working with Jim. He was a conceited asshole and a total wild card, kind of like if Charlie wasn't funny.
Oh, okay.
Charlie who?
Charlie
Yeah.
Day from It's Always Sunny.
Oh,
Wild
just
card.
like
A show that used to be
rats.
very funny.
Hanging out with
Yes.
rats.
Is that what-
Yeah, imagine if that
That's
wasn't
take one.
funny at all and just very sick.
Oh, that'd be weird.
Imagine
This
if
guy's got
imagine
problems.
if Rick and Morty wasn't called Rick and Morty, it was called Rick and Jim.
Oh no,
And it would be more
never.
funny.
Dude, good point. Jim truly was a hazard to work with. He was never sober enough to get anything done. And John, even though he didn't like him, he did help him out a lot too. John was always there when Jim needed him because he saw the talent. He didn't like being around him, but I mean, he's a walking embarrassment is what I'm getting at. So John's like, all right, I'll still hang out and assist in any way I can. So pretty on in their relationship, John was actually on his way to pick up Jim from one of his lady friend's house, and John walked in on Jim trying to rape this girl at knife point.
Stop it.
Oh.
And Jim just dropped
Really?
the act as soon as John saw it, and then pretty much from there on out, John kept an arm's distance and an eye on him at all times.
This wasn't
Ah.
Well, it should be an arm's distance plus a knife blade. You know what I mean?
yeah, in the Boy Scouts we called it the what was it the kill zone or the blood zone.
Yeah. Tell me more about the blood
You
zone.
take the axe or whatever the hell you're using and you spin around in circles, and if anyone's in that area,
without warning.
Yeah,
without warning.
warning, if anyone's in that area, well then you're dead.
I'm just protecting myself.
Safety first.
Yeah. So they also
Were there any more accounts of him like doing this? Like, was this like a constant thing he would always do? Was,
He-
like, try and like rape people?
he was pretty terrible. I mean, I think I have a couple more of these written down. But yeah, in short, like I'm not going to go into any detail and like a lot of these because there's so many of them. One thing I realized about Jim Morrison is that the stuff I'm describing is just like a setup, and then use your imagination because it's just nonstop account of him being terrible to women, terrible to men, terrible to black people. Like that's what he was.
I mean, all right. I don't want to. I'm not trying to defend this scumbag, but I mean, did this guy know if that was consensual? Because like knife play is a thing.
That's true. I've
No,
had it.
dude. He walked into the room with this girl screaming and Jim grabbing at like the buttons on her blouse from behind her. And John's like, "What? How's it going?" and Jim's like, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming in." And then Jim went like, I think Jim went like running after him, like, "Oh, John, it was just like a game or something."
Great.
What's the game? What's the name of the game?
It's called Knife Rape.
Oh,
There we go. Good game. Ages
Yeah.
4 and up.
It's a terrible game. No, Jim Morrison's a bad man.
I've never landed on that
He's-
space when I play the game of life. You've been knife raped, and your car flips over, and you're in the hills.
Lose a turn.
You're in the hills of some desert, and people come out and they're like, "I'm gonna knife rape you."
That's when you spin that little dial too hard and it comes off the track and goes upside
All
down.
right, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they also recruited guitarist Bobby Krieger. I said Bobby. It's Robbie. Excuse me, everyone. Wow.
Dang it, Bobby.
Hate to
drinking.
besmirch. Robbie was versed in flamenco guitar and slide guitar, and he helped
That shit's cool.
bring a sound to the Doors that was the unique touch that they needed to bring it all
Yeah.
together.
That shit's cool.
It's very Hollywood. So they played around for a while and start getting these songs, and eventually they do a gig at some fucking dive bar. And back then, the music industry was very interesting, where they would just hand out record labels would just hand out deals that really didn't mean anything. It was more of like, hey, we're going to give you a very, very small budget, and you're going to have 6 months to put together a demo for us, and then you have to repitch it to our producers.
So what?
So
Oh,
basically,
you say you
they got
do
a
here.
6-month deal with Columbia, and that's the idea. They were supposed to press a demo and then pitch it internally to the producers there to see if any of the producers would work.
So
with
it's
them.
like shotgun venture capitalism.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know, we'll just give a whole bunch of. It's basically kind of like what Netflix does with their TV shows.
Yeah, when they
they're just
greenlight
like,
everything
we'll
and
greenlight
then-
everything, and then they get like a good show, and they're like, see, we did it right.
Right, and they cancel every other show they greenlit
Yeah,
that quarter. Yeah.
Uh-huh,
It's the
yeah.
same idea. So to reduce the cost of the contract, Columbia actually gave the band all new gear from a new company they had acquired, which is Vox. If any of you instrument playing people know, Vox is a guitar amp company, and they also made keyboards and Rhodes keyboards, things like that. So that actually
Tuning
gave
forks.
the Doors their unique sonic quality, like the fuzziness that they had and those keyboards that they used, that it was very particular, and it has to do with that
Right,
contract.
and like,
Had they not signed that
Distinct
contract,
sound.
they would sound like a very
and
different
it sound
thing.
like, dun.
It's like the perfect storm, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
Might
They
as well be
cut a
walking
demo,
on
and I
the
think
sun.
Just let him go.
Shut up, Travis.
Just let him go. Shh, shh, shh.
Shut the. No, I was actually playing some Doors, and my younger sister Emily, she was just like, "Is this a Smash Mouth song?"
You
It's the
tainted
sec-
her, Travis.
It's the second song on the album The Doors, the first one they put out.
Break
you
on
could-
through?
No, Break
that
On
it?
Through is
Oh.
the first song, and then I'm forgetting the name of the second one. But that one sounds like a Smash Mouth. So I think there was a little fuckery with going in
Light
the
My
future
Fire?
and stealing the perfectly good riffs
Well,
from Smash
I'm
Mouth.
just saying that, like, there's like we invented the wheel originally, right? And the wheel
Yes.
was made out of
Okay.
stone. And, it didn't really work too well,
Probably.
right? It's stone. And then Henry Ford comes along. He's like, guess what? We got a rubber wheel.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, we
through
got this
time
rubber
right
wheel.
there.
And guess what? It's the best sound ever.
Smash
Smash
Mouth.
Mouth.
Right. It's good logic. I follow
Yeah, I
it.
get
Yeah,
it,
the
yeah.
Doors are a stone wheel, and Smash Mouth is a rubber wheel.
It's one
How
thing to
about
just.
that?
Not a tire, a rubber wheel.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be a plagiarist.
Evolution.
It's one thing to be a plagiarist, but then it's an entirely new low to be a Smash Mouth plagiarist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. The Doors are fucked.
Yeah, right. What a bunch of fucking scumbags.
Okay, good.
Right. So anyway, the Doors leave their contract with Columbia before the contract's even up. I don't know what happened. There was some, I forget. It was in the book, but who cares? The Doors got a residency gig at a crummy local bar called the London Fog on the Sunset
Ugh.
Strip down the street from LA's hottest rock club, Whiskey A Go Go. Whiskey spelt without the E to get around some decency laws of the time. Also the birthplace of the go-go dancer.
Oh, thank
Wow, okay.
you, Whiskey
Really?
Go-Go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a great club. I've always wanted to go down
Is
there.
it still there?
Never been?
It might not be after COVID, but
Oh.
yeah, a lot of cool bands play there today. They're still like pretty at their heart, like rock and roll,
Really?
and
They're all still open? That's cool.
they bring all kinds of real music like death metal and grindcore there.
Oh.
You can see good
Not like
stuff. It
not like
exists.
CBGBs. You guys are stupid. Go away.
Yeah, they stopped.
Yeah,
doing
they
it.
went away.
So anyway, the Doors took their time in the London Fog, honing in their sound and getting their jams together and getting the crowd work on. And even though their first gig was the only one with a real turnout, they would play 2 sets a night and basically became the Doors here. They worked out the songs in a studio and then made them a live performance thing.
Okay.
One of the promoters of the Whiskey, Ronnie Herring, had the hots for Jim.
Oh.
And Ronnie is a female Ronnie.
Okay.
Okay,
So, yeah.
curveballs
Hey-o.
all day.
So she was like, "Oh, I got the hots for this Jim and his nerd band."
So besides,
she
I just want to put it out there because, like, we're talking the Doors now. We're talking the real band, right? And of course, we all know they have the Smash Mouth piano going, the Rhodes.
Right.
Did Jim always sing his songs without his shirt on? Because I feel like his nipples were the other instrument.
Well,
That's a
nipples
great
are a
question.
mammalian thing. He's a lizard.
Yeah, right. He shouldn't even have nipples.
They're tattooed nipples.
Okay.
I mean, he went through variations of stage garb. He was really into the leather pants and vinyl pants thing.
I mean, who wasn't?
No, he actually kind of started that look.
Okay.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, there was like a scene out on the East Coast that had started adopting that look through like that Andy Warhol people, like people in his films.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple people in the background of those films wearing this like kind of getup, but none of them were famous.
Right.
He was
Yeah,
like
they're
the
just
first rock
fashion
star
people.
to be the leather pant boy.
Yeah, and he was like, "Take me down to the paradise city where the girls all get in the paradise city." Ah!
That's different band,
No,
Travis.
it's the same man,
Yeah.
dude.
It's like Travis knows the first 16 words to every song, but no more.
You're being
They're the
really
right
generous
words,
with
Travis.
16.
I just don't want to serenade you with the whole song. You know, I'm just saying, like, I'm a karaoke star.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I'm doing a lot of talking this episode, so I need to keep it up. I'm going to keep talking. Here we go. So now, Ronnie is dating Jim for a little bit.
Yay.
She's into the music, so there was an opening at the big old whiskey.
It was
So
called
she's like,
Ronnie's
"Well, let's
Vagina.
get you assholes in there." Also, you know that song, you know that Doors song, the Whiskey Bar, that
Yeah.
one. Oh, show me the way
To
to
the
the next. That's like that was on their first album, and that's actually about playing the whiskey because the London fog was terrible.
Oh, I
Really?
thought you were going to say, like
Yeah.
Cody mentioned, Ronnie's vagina. Show me the way to the next
The opening.
whiskey bar.
Oh, don't ask why. Is that a penis by your thigh?
Is that a penis inside of your vagina that only emerges when you're sexually aroused?
Gross.
So anyway, they become a house band at the whiskey, making $500 a week. Wow!
Whoa!
2 sets a night.
Sick.
Back then, that's fucking
Dude, that's still
money.
pretty much money. I don't know. We live in a slave society.
Yeah.
During this time, Max Fink became the Doors' lawyer and got them in with Elektra Records. Also, Max Fink helped out Jim all the fucking time in the future because he gets in a lot of trouble.
What? Why would you ever trust a lawyer whose name is Maximum Fink?
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
pull the handbrake really quickly. There must have been more than one fucking resume in that applications file. And they're just like, let's go not with Mr. Dastardly. Let's go with Max Fink.
Dude, maximum your Fink. You know, get Fink you're out the
No,
law.
if you want a good lawyer, you just look for the most Jewish name you can find. Steenberg.
Max Fink was
Steenberg
definitely
wise.
Jewish.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like
good
Travis'
point.
Yeah.
school of thought.
So the whiskey gigs were going well, and LA was starting to buzz about this new band and their beat poet Dionysus frontman, sweating on everyone, screaming and howling, crooning to people. He had this great vocal range. Although he wasn't always in key, there was a character to his voice that made him very interesting.
Okay.
But these gigs at the whiskey did not last long, as Jim's metaphorical Oedipus complex started to kick in.
Oh, we're talking.
He's a motherfucker? Mike, what's an Oedipus complex, Mike?
I'm gonna guess his ego.
What? Yeah.
His
what
ego
about
goes
that?
into what?
It was inflated. It was inflated.
When you
He
want
was
to
very,
fuck your mom.
Yeah.
When you want to have sex with
Oh.
your mom, Mike.
What the fuck? That's totally not what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Isn't that called like Siegfried and Freud or some shit like that? No. It's like Freud, right? Freud.
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud. It's okay, Mike. I have actually said that exact thing before.
God, Mike is just the
shit.
bull in the logic shop that is.
It's
he scrambled me.
He's convex. He's convex in the bowl shop.
Sorry.
Anyway, I'll
No.
explain how this applies, Mike. It could be a little confusing. So it's a metaphorical Oedipus complex in which he views the father as the man. You know, to be in simple
Alpha.
hippie terms, it is the authority. It is school
Yeah.
structures, all that shit. And the mother is like nature and human intuition.
Okay, he's a
Okay.
guy.
So when he was
Yeah.
living on that roof, right? He's living on that roof when he's like down and out. He's like, I'm gonna open up this Bumblebee can of tuna fish because it came from Mother, the ocean.
Kind of, yeah. So he could be found mumbling to himself when he was out drinking with friends. He would just start mumbling and like staring into the corner and just saying over and over again, kill the father, kill the father, kill the father, fuck the mother, kill the father, fuck the mother, over and over again.
Really?
That's creeps.
Yeah.
That's fucking creepy.
Yeah. So one night during their second set at the whiskey, he missed the first one, by the way, because he was tripping on acid. The band had the entire club in a trance playing their tune, This Is the End, or excuse me, their tune, The End, which is a droning Eastern influence song. It's a pretty good song.
Yeah.
I like it. And to be fair, I like
it too.
I like this
Me
Doors
too. Let me give
music.
you an
Some of
audio
it.
rendition. This is the end.
16.
My only friend. The end.
It's pretty good.
Pretty much
Well
there.
done.
That was terrible, Travis.
Shut up, asshole. I'm the best singer in the show.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Dude,
Yeah,
have you ever
you can
seen
have
the
it.
show Double Dare? That's me.
Yeah,
That's me when you find the flag in the nose.
All right.
Yeah.
So they're playing their song, The End, and Jim decided to improvise the lyrics to the grand ending of this song as it crescendos and told the story of Oedipus Rex at the crescendo, repeating the fuck the father. I mean, well, that's different.
Ooh.
Kill the father, fuck the mother over and over again. And the club owner was just like, you can't say that. I could lose my whole club if they find out that I got a
Holy
guy screaming
shit.
about fucking his mother on stage. So then they were fired from the whiskey, and the rest of the Doors continued.
Game over, man.
Blew
Game
it.
over.
Is there like a video of this at all?
No,
Or
this
no?
is
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, this is that
figured.
time where they were
It's rare to have a video camera around, unless
Yeah.
it's like a big thing.
Yes.
yeah, and this is a house. They were a house band at this time, meaning that they played 10 times a week.
Oh, okay.
It's like they
fucking
took
wild,
off Monday
man.
and Tuesday, and then every other day they were on for 2 sets.
Yeah.
So no one's going out of their way to film that shit.
It's a lot.
So now, producer Paul Rothschild enters the picture as they sign up with Elektra.
Mm.
You see, they get a record contract with the folks over at Elektra, and Elektra pair them up with basically the fifth member of the Doors, which is this producer. Wow, I'm coming back in. I'm
It's Elektra.
yeah, Elektra. Later, I believe they were bought out by Warner Brothers and all this shit. So anyway, Paul Rothschild comes into the picture and becomes their producer and is the fifth member. The Doors produced their first album together.
Mm-hmm.
They managed to
Yay.
record their debut album in a week, as they had been practicing the songs in front of a live audience nightly for months now.
So like a real band.
Cool.
Yeah. They went in, they did a great job. A week for back then, and the way people did all the recording, that was very good.
Yeah.
Jim was pretty cooperative throughout most of the process, although his temper did shorten over time. One day, towards the end of recording, Jim noticed one of the engineers watching the Dodgers on a little tube TV hiding in the corner of the control
Remember
room.
those boys?
Oh.
I'd be
Yeah.
outside
So, I
barbecuing
guess
with my
he-
papa, and he'd be like, I'm watching the Mets game. Shut up.
Thanks, Papa.
I guess he hadn't seen the TV before, but upon seeing it now, he flew into a fit of rage and threw the set at the control room window.
Oh.
Never.
Now, the
Don't do.
window didn't break because it's basically bulletproof glass that's like 1.5 inches thick, but the TV lay smashed on the floor. And stupid Jim Morrison's like, no TVs in the studio ever.
Oh, that's nice. You just broke my expensive machine that you can find at a thrift store now. For like $1.
Yeah, back then that was like, half of a producer's salary for the week,
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, all I want to do is watch the Rogers while these guys smoke cigarettes and yell about mothers and having sex with them.
I want to punch Jim in his face. Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I
Good
mean,
Mike.
he did get hit a few times in his career. Basically, Jim was just like a 1960s Danzig.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. I love Danzig, but he's such a dick.
So after the band finally, after many takes, recorded their very sensual, moving version of The End,
Yeah.
that is the closer of the Doors'
This is
first
the
album.
end.
They nailed it. It took a while, and actually the last take they used, they had to turn off all the lights, and Jim had like a candle in front of him. It was really it was kind of lame. But it's just like, it's the only way I could perform in the dark and whatever.
Sounds
So
like some
Jim-
film school shit.
Exactly. So Jim's like, this in the end. And he nails it. And afterwards, for some reason, they close up the studio. So he breaks back into the studio to spray a chemical fire extinguisher all over the instrument room.
Oh, that's smart.
Okay.
The
And the people
atmosphere.
at Elektra who are renting Sunset Studios are like, why would you do that? You finished your job. They're like, this isn't even a fit of rage thing. Like, you went back after you were
That was a
done.
layup to Riders on the Storm. He was trying to set the scene. It's like, it's going to be snowing when the riders are on the storm. We need to spray it's good with the fires. Oh,
Maybe.
help me.
Well done.
Now, Jim had also begun dating a terrible, terrible woman a few months before recording. Her name is Pam Corson, and she is basically the same person as Jim when it comes to rage and erratic behavior.
Uh-oh.
Their only difference between the two of them was one had a penis and one had a vagina, and the other one was talented and somewhat talented, and she was not. She was.
I feel like this is.
She probably didn't have the
She was a
penis
leech.
either.
I feel like we're building a trend here because didn't this happen with Stephen Ray Vaughan? They had
yes,
two meth heads.
with Leonard, his girlfriend Leonard.
Maybe that's maybe that's something this podcast can do. We can just start dating meth heads and we'll get more famous. Mike, get on that.
Yeah, get some meth head
Yeah,
groupies.
find them on the South Shore. South Shore meth heads.
Look under the dock.
Go to Mastic, I'll find them.
Yeah. So, like your future meth head wife, Mike, they put each other through hell, and they deserved each other. They would publicly embarrass one another for the rest of their lives, dating on and off. Pam had absolutely no problem belittling Jim anywhere they'd go. She'd wind up and just punch him in the fucking face over dumb shit.
Oh man, just imagine like sitting down in a Waffle House and this shit unfolds like two booths over, and you're just like trying not to see that as you're like getting down your black coffee.
Right. Like, it was the kind of thing they'd be at that Waffle House, and they'd both be hungover after a 2-day bender.
Yeah.
And she'd be like talking like some crazy woman, like, I can't decide whether I'm gonna get orange juice in a big size or a small size. And Jim's got his head on the fucking table going, what the fuck are you talking about? And she would just hit him. They threw knives and plates at each other. They beat the shit out of each other. It was a
Sounds
fucking
like
mess.
a Juggalo marriage.
True love right there.
Sounds like they got married at the
Yeah, right.
gathering.
Yeah. But
There you
anyway,
go.
Jim did stay with Pam in her place in Laurel Canyon consistently.
Where's Laurel
hey.
Canyon? Is that somewhere in L.A.?
It's one of these places that in LA was settled by initially some loggers and stuff, and then when Hollywood became a place, a lot of celebrities moved there.
Oh.
So it was the celebrities of the 30s and 40s who lived there, and now like they weren't there
Oh, so
anymore.
it was like
So there was
Beverly
cheap-
Hills, like 1.0.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Beta version.
beta.
Beta.
A
Wait,
major point of
Are you
contention.
telling me that Jim Morrison's a beta? Getting beat up in the Waffle House?
He was a frisky beta.
Frisky beta. All right.
Yeah.
He was definitely a frisky beta.
There you go.
A major point of contention between the two was Jim's preference for anal sex.
Giving or receiving?
Well, he liked it exclusively to give anal sex. That was his
Okay.
thing. Pam was tiny, and a lot of tiny women don't like anal sex.
Weird, right?
She was like 90 pounds soaking wet. So, I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but also if you don't want to get fucked in your ass, I think you have the right to say that.
Yeah. I mean, you could also just you
I'll
could
go on
also
the
just
record
date
right now.
men that don't want to fuck you in the ass. There's plenty of men that don't want to do that.
too.
Like, and if you're a tiny woman,
Well, he's
if
a
you're a
rock
tiny
star.
woman and you don't want the tip of his penis to stick out of your throat when he's fucking you,
He's a
That's
rock star.
disgusting. That's a terrible thing.
Exit only, man.
But you have to understand these people tripped together. They belonged to each other. It was destiny. They loved
except for
each
that
other.
he wanted to fuck her in
No
the ass all
anal.
the time.
But yeah, you can't be a soulmate if you don't want the anal and your significant other does.
Sometimes
Nah,
just
it
not
works.
worth
Yeah.
it.
It's
You
not
can find
worth
another soul. One time they were fighting over some anal stuff, and
Oh.
I guess they were throwing shit at each other, and they both passed out. When Jim came to the next morning, Pam had cut up all of his clothes and wrote the F word, which is faggot, in permanent marker on the back
Okay.
of his favorite vest, and left the apartment.
Ah.
Now
Wow.
this is
F-words.
yeah.
That's not cool.
No, it's not cool at all. What is he going to do for clothes? Pam.
Wear the faggot vest. Duh.
I'd wear,
I'd wear the vest. I'd be
I'd
like,
wear the
fuck
vest.
yeah.
I'd rock it. I'd be like,
It's already a vest. So
Just
what?
write
There's a
something
fucking-
else over it. Then you can't read it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm a fag.
Jim would.
Hello, woman. I'm a faggot for your asshole.
I'm already wearing the vest.
Oh my God, guys, come on.
We can't get demonetized as a podcast.
Well, that's true. Look, we. All jokes aside,
Never.
but he did play both sides, and I think that Pam went after him a lot for that.
Oh, I thought she said that because he was just like, I just want to stick my dick in your butt.
Well, that is true, but he did, like I said, play both sides. So it was one of those things that was an ever evolving reason why she would use that word at him, being
So it was
very
kinda
different
It
times.
was hateful.
She would
You're
like
like
I
a
said,
smelly weenie.
she would successfully get under
Thank you,
his
Mike.
skin, and in fact, she gave such lip to him and just put him in his place so many times that when they got in fights and he felt like he came out on the bottom end of it, he would go out to a club, find some poor unsuspecting girl, go home with her, and then beat the shit out of her.
What the hell?
Oh, great.
That's not good.
He just take his rage out on some random fucking chick.
Yeah.
He's like, you're in the doors. I love you. Let me suck your penis. And he's just
Here's my
like,
fist.
I'm gonna beat
Yeah.
the shit out of you.
Why beat the shit out of them? That is so like. Why not just
I know,
like
right?
bang another chick?
Well, he would, and then he would get violent. And remember what I said at the beginning of.
All right.
Remember
He's
what
probably,
I.
trying to rape them.
You got to remember what I said. I don't know, about 25 minutes ago in the podcast or so. That there's very little rhyme or reason to this guy.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true. Yeah. And
He's a lizard.
Right.
They don't think about anything besides crickets.
Well, I think you just got crickets.
Yeah, he's like the lizard with like the nougaty center of Native American Ghost. So don't forget about
Yeah.
that either.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So anyway,
You're welcome.
Jim and Pam stayed together, and Pam called herself Mrs. Morrison, even though they never were married.
Ooh, that's pretentious.
And Jim gave her access to all of his money,
Don't.
which she spent
smart.
very freely, and she probably realistically spent more of his money than he did in his lifetime.
Wow.
She's a woman. So,
Oh,
anyway, Elektra put out their first album January 4th, 1967. They also rented a billboard to advertise the album on the Sunset Strip. This was the first time a record company did this.
Egad.
wow.
The album,
yeah, and then you turn to Pure Moods, and they're coming out with commercials.
right?
That was the first album to have commercials. I'm assuming.
I'm assuming so as well. I think that's a good assumption. So the album didn't sell that great immediately, but about a month or two after it being out, Rothschild made a radio edit of "Break On Through," which he knocked out the keyboard solo and the guitar solo, making the song about 3 minutes, and the shit went flying off the shelves like crazy after
Huh.
Really?
Cool. What year is this?
that. 67.
Oh, okay.
Two away.
Getting close.
Wow.
Rothschild, like I said, he was close to the Doors, and when he did those edits and stuff, initially they were like, no, we don't want to compromise our music, and then he was just like, but if I do this, you can make money, and they were like, oh, well, maybe would you just do it then?
Yeah.
That's
Making
smart.
money's
I don't
nice.
know.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking him for that.
Yeah, he actually got pretty close with Ray and Jim, and they hung out for a while. They're bros, dude. He actually invited them over to his house for Thanksgiving one year.
That's generous of him.
Very generous. What else was generous was that while at Thanksgiving, Jim got hammered and started hitting on Rothschild's wife quite a bit
Oh, that's not good.
in front of everyone, very loudly. So Rothschild hurried along the whole turkey eating ceremony, and then they put Jim in the car. So Ray and Paul are in the car. Jim's in the back seat, and he starts. They're like, we'll get Ray, we'll get Jim back to the hotel. We'll call this an early night. So Jim's in the back, pulling up both of their hair. Both of them were kind of being sports about it. Like, all right, well, we'll just let him pull our hair because even betas got betas. And they took Jim back to the hotel, and he did one of his many, many human fly acts.
Whoa.
Now, his human fly act was just wherever he was, whatever hotel, if it had a window ledge, he would go out on it and try to dangle himself.
Great.
Free fall, you know.
Really?
Yeah, he tried to
Great
Ninja
American
Warrior that shit.
pastime.
While he,
I
Damn.
thought you were gonna say like he would throw up on like an Entenmann's cake and eat it.
Both
I'm
are
sure
valid.
he did that. Yeah, I'm sure he did that. So he did that for about an hour, standing on the ledge of this, the window outside and hanging from it, just reciting poetry. And then when he got back in, he put a lampshade on his head and pissed all over the carpet. Fell asleep.
Classic.
Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Got the wet T-shirt.
This was very normal for Jim Morrison. This happened
What a
all the
fucking
time.
nut job.
Yeah, this was like 2-3 times a week that this would happen.
He's hanging out the window like that?
Yeah.
Of a fucking building?
So disclaimer right now. There are no big stories with Jim Morrison. There's no Keith Moon moments where he killed his bodyguard. There is none of that shit. He is just a goof all the time.
One of those simmers.
Yeah.
Sounds very smooth.
Yeah, and another thing is that he never liked the idea of having a home. So he wasn't homeless, but he would always stay in hotels.
He's got a hoe boner.
I mean, we've talked about this before on the show. It's like back when you could just live in hotels.
Yeah, which you can do now if you're a rock star. That if you're Bono.
Yeah, and if you're Bono, you can live in like a Hotel 6 and just make it by.
Wow, it's under an 8.
Yeah, but hotels used to be cheap because they are just a room, and now,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, now they're quadruple the price they should be. So
Well, it's like
Go to a
too many
motel
people were just
instead.
living in hotels.
Just live in a motel.
yeah, but motels
Yeah,
are
no,
now
you can't
4
do that
times the
either.
price because everyone's Airbnb'd up, and they got free Wi-Fi. That's how they get you. They build it into the cost.
You know those little
Nice.
sketchy ones? They got the bugs and stuff to keep you up at night?
The bed bugs.
Dude,
Yeah,
I've been
the
in
ones
those.
that import bugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Imported bugs. Oh, I gotta go here.
HBO and imported bugs.
I think the sleaziest motel I was ever in was in Buffalo, New York. It was right on the border. And yeah, that was one of those places where I went there. I was traveling with my buddy from England.
Oh yeah.
And I went up to the like desk and they're like, how many hours you want?
Oh.
Like, nah, I just want to sleep here.
What? How long do you
Like,
sleep?
I
How
felt
much meth do you
grosser
do?
She thought you were gonna fuck your friend from London. Or
Yeah,
England.
well, and I thought, I was like, I felt dirtier coming out of the shower than when I went in.
No, it's got that gravy.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, at least I didn't have to worry about slipping. That was a big thing. Like, I'm always afraid of slipping in a bathtub and cracking my
It
head.
was just sticky.
Yeah.
There was sticky tape
Oh,
everywhere.
thank God.
That's good. So I always wear shoes in those places in the shower.
Into the shower.
Yeah, you gotta wear shoes, man. You gotta wear Doc Martens in there.
At least in those places. You never know. You might step on like a needle or some shit.
they don't check the carpets for years. Anyway, let's get back. So Jim Morrison's living in hotels and stuff. Even though the Doors are picking up success, Light My Fire is all over the radio. The End is even getting gameplay on radio, which is crazy because it's a 7-minute song. They're blowing up pretty quick. They're not huge though. They're not Chumbawamba big. So
are they bigger than? Are they bigger? Are they bigger than Robert Plant and the Led Zeppelin?
well, Led Zeppelin's peak was like 3 years later because Zeppelin 2 came out in 70, I think. And I will mention them later because there's a little penis envy happening between Jim Morrison and Robert Plant.
Always penis envy.
Yeah. So on September 17th, 1967, the Doors were invited to perform on the Ed Sullivan Show. They had been doing enough touring, they began enough publicity, and the Ed Sullivan Show, big thing. I mean, that's what introduced the American public to the Beatles, for Christ's sake. This was a big
it was
deal.
almost as big as, for people our age, almost as big as Ryan Seacrest.
You think we can get on the Ed Sullivan Show?
Modern day?
I would hope that we could, yeah. So anyway, what happened there is that the band shows up. They're like, okay, we're going to dress around. We're going to get naked, or not really get naked, but Jim's got a naked thing about him. He's one-upping Elvis.
Yeah.
You know,
I like
he's
that
sexy.
sequence. Let's dress up and get naked.
He had just done that famous photo shoot where, you know, I'm sure every college dorm has a few of these where his arms are all spread out. Oh, by the way, he definitely had anal sex with the woman who took that photo. I forgot to write it down. But she did lube herself up with butter. That was very fun.
Ooh.
Don't know
Read
about that.
Well, it was anal.
Fire.
Remember, he was an anal hound. He needed
Like
anal.
buttery.
Just butter in the toast. Butter in those buns.
There you go.
Butter them buds. Baby girl, butter them buds.
So anyway, he's a sex icon now. And
Because of muddy butter?
yes, because of muddy butter. Took those photos, excellent photos of a naked Jim Morrison.
Yo, have you ever heard of the, like, welcome back to my apartment, my dorm? You ever heard of this guy? He's cool. He has his shirt off. And then this dude over here, there's a place called Cuba. You ever heard about that country? He like started it. And then he was like, guess what? You don't have to pay rent in my country.
That Scarface poster you're talking about?
Yeah, over here.
Good, Mike.
Over here we got this is an actual villain from history that was a mobster in Florida.
Hey guys, I just wrote a joke. You want to hear it? It's very bad. What Van Morrison song is Jim Morrison's favorite?
Brown Eyed Girl.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Brown Eyed Hole.
Soft brown eye.
Song.
All right. So anyway, they're at the Ed Sullivan Show and they're getting all make-upped up and they're hanging out and they're doing their thing. And the producer comes back and he's just like, "Hey guys, very excited for you to play your hit song, Light My Fire. It's going to be great. We're really into it. One thing, you got to not say the words, girl, we're going to get much higher. It's not good for television. We're going to get a fine." So Jim Morrison's like, "Oh, fuck are you, gay?" And like that.
Dude, Japanese sushi man.
Yes. So Ray's like, no, it's cool, man. He's just an artist, so he won't say that. It's fine. And then they went out, and of course Jim Morrison's like, "Oh, we're going to get more time." And Ed Sullivan's like, fuck, god damn it, why'd you have to say that part? And they get kicked off the stage, and they, Ed Sullivan was going to bring him on for 6 or 7 more shows. Didn't happen.
Oh,
They got kicked off of CBS forever.
Well, that was like when Justin Timberlake was like, guess what? It's the football season. We're gonna play a show with Michael Jackson's sister.
Yeah, that's
Show
right.
me your tits.
That was great. That was great.
Yeah, he did it on purpose. You could see the ramen in his hair told him to do it.
Yep.
Right. So on December 9th. December 9th, I'm getting drunk now, guys. This is bad. I still have more reading to do. December 9th, 1967, at a venue in New Haven, Connecticut, the band was getting ready to go on, and Jim was messing around with some backstage Betty in the shower area.
Oh.
When a police officer who was hired to protect the Doors came in and was like, "You motherfuckers can't be here." And Jim's like, "Yeah, I could be here. Fuck you talking about?"
Jim.
I was like, "You can't be here." So they argued for a bit, and eventually the officer maced Jim Morrison, the very guy he was hired to protect.
Ooh.
Was his dick inside of a butthole at that moment?
No, apparently they were
'Cause
just kissing. That's what everyone
okay.
says. I'm
right.
sure they were
Well,
they were going to get to it.
Wait, but was his penis kissing her rectum? Was my question.
It was probably close.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. 'Cause
Um,
I just want to see someone get maced during anal sex. That's like always. That's a dream
Would
of mine.
you
A
continue?
bucket list.
Would you continue? Would
Yes,
you
I will,
tough it out
Cody.
and soldier on.
I
Yeah.
will continue.
You try.
I would continue talking because I don't. I thought you were talking to me, Cody.
I mean, what can you really do?
No,
Just
the
get him some
macing.
water?
Are you gonna continue reaming the broad after you get maced? And keep in
You
mind,
try.
Probably, no.
keep in mind that shit's spicy, and there's more than eyes and mouth aren't the only orifice exposed to the air.
Cody.
No,
Okay,
dude,
let's do
of,
it.
Continue.
of course I couldn't, dude. I can't even maintain a boner if someone texts me. Like I get bothered so easily.
Oh man, I'm gonna text you so often now.
I'd be like crying or something if I got maced. I'd be like, fuck my eyes or some shit.
Dude,
Well,
that's
probably,
why I got
yeah.
bees.
That's
Good
why he said
eyes.
Jim Morrison's all like, "I am blind." Wait, do we like the deaf Jim Morrison or the Japanese one? What am I going with?
Japanese.
Oh, I'm blind. I am very blind. So he's running down the hallway. The manager, Jim Morrison's manager, is just like, "You just maced the talent. Fuck's wrong with you, dude? Fuck's wrong with you?" So he chewed that guy a new piss hole, and the officer
Oh.
apologized profusely. And the rest of the band was just like, "Wait, yo, we don't like establishments like this. So you're saying if he's famous, you're not gonna mace him, but since he's a regular somebody, you're gonna mace him? Not cool." So they're pissed off at the police. So
Okay.
they take the apology in the dressing room, but then they go out and play.
Dude, that guy was just trying to afford Arby's for the night, man. He was just trying to get his half pound of roast beef with cheese on it.
He's getting paid
Heavily.
hourly. He could
his
do
job.
less work. He could be like, "All right, you guys should finish up in there." And
Yeah,
then
but
none
if
of
it
this
goes
would
too
have
smooth-
happened.
If it goes too smoothly, you can get yourself some overtime by like macing him and then delaying the apology.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a good point. All right. So, anyways, doors hit the stage. Jim is now he could see because it's about a half hour. Takes some time. He's like, "Oh, baby." So he's out there on the stage dancing along, and as soon as I forget what song it was, either 5 to 1 or Backdoor Man. They start jamming out a little bit, and Jim's like, "Let me tell you a story about what happened to me. 10,000 people."
Oh.
And they're all like, yo. And the police are up there hanging out like, "Oh my God, I can't wait. I hope he doesn't tell that story."
I like how it's a story at this point, not something that just happened on the way to the forum.
Yeah. It's,
I feel like
I'm gonna need like 2 hours and 45 minutes before it's regarded as a story to retell.
I also
Yep.
feel like at every department of a police station on the corkboard it says, "I hope they don't tell that story."
Yeah, internal memo.
yeah.
I hope they
right?
forget about that.
Like, "Oh God, I hope they don't talk about that one." But anyway, so he tells the story. He's just like, "I was just hanging out with this. I was just hanging out there with it. I can't do that. I was just hanging out backstage with this little Betty, kissing her on her lips and mouth, making her feel good. And all of a sudden, Officer Dickhold comes in here, spraying me down with mace. And there's cops on the stage now, so he starts stealing their hats while he's telling the story."
really?
No.
Uh-huh.
So then they start the song up again because they're like, "Oh, we got to distract them with loud noise." Well, it didn't work, and the cops just came and arrested Jim, and the show was over, and then they arrested a bunch of the people rioting outside because the Doors liked to incite riots.
Oh, that's not
So-
That's
good.
cool.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
In total, Jim was arrested 11 times. Most of them didn't mean
That
anything. No, not that night. No,
He's
no.
a good lawyer. Max
yeah.
Fink is a good lawyer.
Yeah, Max Fink is a good lawyer. Most of these arrests didn't really amount to anything. A lot of them were just public drunkenness and bullshit like that. November 9th, 1969. A few years later, we'll talk about a fun one. Phoenix, Arizona. Morrison was booked into a city jail for drunkenly molesting some stewardess and interfering with the flight crew and attendants on a Continental
Dude.
Airlines
What
flight.
the fuck?
Really? That's a big one.
Yeah, Jim and his friend Tom Baker, who was one of Andy Warhol's go-to like heroin acting addicts. Jim is still famous, and he is doing his thing, and he's still a lot of times when he's getting drunk, just screaming the N-word.
Oh.
I mean,
He
Who
even
hasn't?
That's
managed
not
to.
cool, Jim. Come on.
No, it's not cool at all. In fact, he was. I don't even think he knew what the word meant after a while because he actually was at the Whiskey one night. Because even though he was fired, he would still go there and check the other bands out. He got hammered, and Bo Diddley was playing.
that's a real person?
Yeah, you know Bo Diddley?
No.
No.
Wait, hold on a second.
Is that a porn star? That's just a porn star.
he's
Is
an
he a guitar
American
player?
like. No, he's a black like blues rock and roll kind of guy.
Is
Kind
he
of.
black or blue?
Well, he's let's put it this way: he's black, and Jim thought it would be hilarious if he went up on stage and sang with him, and then started calling all the other people in the place that weren't black the N-word.
Really?
Yeah. All the
Wow.
young
That's
people.
not funny.
It's role reversal.
Well,
What a
it's
dick.
kind of funny because it's you're laughing at Jim. We're not laughing at what he's saying. It's like ha 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 ha.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, this is really terrible. By this point, too, in 1968, he wanted to leave the Doors and be a poet.
Ah, little Ginsberg
Great.
boy.
Good.
He was a big fan of Ginsberg, and actually, he started looking a little bit more like Ginsberg. Started pudging up again.
Did they
Oh.
meet?
Oh, they probably met once or twice.
Touch tips.
He liked his words and shit, but Jim claimed to his bandmates that he was having a nervous breakdown, which he probably was, but everyone just shrugged it off. Like, he's just using these words because he knows words, but he doesn't always know what they mean. Case in point,
Yeah.
the whole Bo Diddley scene.
Got it.
I know.
Yeah, it'll be
words.
fine.
Yeah, it's true. So the Doors, while Jim wasn't around, I think he was in Tangiers for a while, traveling Europe. Although the Doors rarely played overseas because something I'll get into in a bit. The Doors had licensed Light My Fire to Buick for a run of commercials while Jim was in London. I should have just read. Jim was in London looking for his shitty girlfriend wife, Pam, who had run away to have sex with a man who had heroin.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Makes sense.
When he came back from London and had a band meeting with the boys, he found out about the licensing, and he flipped out because they had cheapened his artwork.
Fuck it.
And from then on out, he never felt like he could trust any of the guys in the band again. Just they
That was a
betrayed
breaking
him.
point.
Dude, if you have a popular band, sell it to everyone. Like, I don't know, sell all your songs.
Tell
Yeah,
I
us.
feel like the
cash out,
Rolling
fuck
Stones.
it.
You know what I mean? I feel like the Rolling Stones probably had the same attitude where they're like, we don't want to sell our shit. And now you turn on the TV, it's like every other commercial is like a Rolling Stones song.
Well,
They're like, we don't care.
To this day, you probably haven't heard a Doors song on a commercial because this was the last time it happened.
Really?
Yeah,
Historic
pe-
moment of history.
yeah. Well,
No, that's not true.
what do you mean?
It was in the Tony Hawk's Underground video game trailer on TV. Doesn't matter. I heard that the Break On Through the Other Side song was the.
Yeah, but they
Ah.
didn't. They did. Okay, so they probably got that licensing deal because they gave it to a compilation. You understand?
Oh, sorry. I think it was Underground or Underground 2. I can't remember.
Okay, so maybe you did hear it, but it was sold as a licensing agreement as a compilation thing. Like
Yeah.
their music has been
It
a
wasn't the
soundtrack.
actual song. I think it was
just
just the intro.
what's that?
It was just the intro, I think, of one of the songs.
Exactly. It wasn't a commercial. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It wasn't them actually in the shebang.
Yeah, every time I do
Well,
a
what I'm
kickflip,
saying is
I
that
hear
they've
Riders
licensed-
on the Storm.
They've licensed it out to movies. They've never had a problem
Yeah.
doing that. Like other forms of art has been fine, but not commercials.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the reason they had done that is because Jim had seriously skyrocketed their headroom because of all these mishaps that were happening and all the lawyer fees that were racking up that were coming out of some of the band's money. And the band had been at a point for a while now where they couldn't do tours because Jim couldn't stop partying between shows. So, for example, they'd play a show on Friday night, and after the show, everyone would go out and party, but then call it a night, knowing they had a show the next day. Jim would keep partying and get fucked up and do the next show with no sleep. By the time the third show happened, Jim was tired, and he needed rest, so he couldn't go on a tour. Like, the Rolling Stones were touring. Every other...
Jeez. Sounds like the worst band, mate.
Yeah, every other big band at this time was touring, because that's what you did for money.
Well,
they were limited to weekend runs.
He probably had his nipples out too much and they got chafed. So I agree that you can only do so many shows if you got chafed nipples.
We've already established his nipples are tattooed on, Travis.
Oh, that's true.
And he barely wore shirts while he was playing.
Well, I mean, if they're
You're
tattooed
double
on,
wrong.
maybe they didn't heal properly and you're still chafing the wound.
Okay, Chafing the Wound, episode title.
That's my
There you
new grindcore band.
Chafing the Wound.
Chafing the wound.
So the reason they had sold the licensing rights to Buick to begin with was because of Jim. And then Jim gets mad because they did that. So Jim is out of his mind because they're a operation that is running low on cash, even though they're the number 2 band in America.
Wow.
And the number one keeps going in and out depending on who's hot that month. But the Doors were big.
Steady number 2, man. That's all I could ever ask for when I go
What
to the
about
bathroom.
the Beatles?
Well, the Beatles weren't an American band.
Oh, but they didn't chart in America?
I mean, they charted in America. What I'm saying is that the Doors actually had a really long run of being number 1 and number 2 and stuff like that. And they would go in and out of phases. Like, people got tired of the Doors quick, but then when they came out with a new album, it was all cool again. You know what I mean?
And Brian Wilson was there just eating paint, so they never charted.
Right. So, also another thing to take account is that a lot of the shows that they did play, there would be riots outside because Jim never actually showed up. So they would have to refund tickets. So they would bill, okay, we're making this much on this show. Oh, no, we didn't because Jim was high somewhere and we had to give back $20,000 in ticket sales. And we don't get our guarantee.
Damn.
And we paid to get everything out here.
At the core of every major fuck up since like the caveman days, it's because a Jim was high somewhere. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Every catastrophe,
Yeah.
fucking Chernobyl, the Hindenburg, there was a guy named James or Jim that was just high somewhere, not doing what he was supposed to be doing. Challenger exploded. Where the fuck is Jim?
Right. He was basically a towelly. Anyway, after this is when Jim broke up the Doors' initial agreement to split everything equally. Now he wanted to get all the writers' credit for the lyrics because back then, and I think even today, there was 3, it was publishers, writers, and then lyrics.
So if you're
now-
a ghostwriter, if you're ghostwriting that whip, you get lyrics.
It's not, no.
Some shit like that. I mean, it depends on the agreement. But now, Jim was just like, we're not doing this equal shit anymore. I'm taking some of these credits that belong to me. And whatever. I don't know.
I need more money to fuel my anal obsession. I have 7
Yes.
Pornhub subscriptions, all set to anal.
Right. So now
Oh, that's
they put out an album called The Soft Parade. It's one of the best Doors albums, but Jim hated that album because he wasn't even into being in the Doors. It was all just Ray's writing. And then
What was some of the songs on Soft Parade?
Soft Parade, that was one of them. I don't know the album that well, but
okay.
I did listen to it.
Soft Parade,
it's fun.
yeah.
It's a fun album.
Oh, okay. But like any of the popular ones you hear on Z100 before it was not Z100 when it was 92.3 K-Rock.
Not really. You kind of just hear that one song, People Are Strange, from the second
Strange.
album. You hear most of the first album,
yeah.
and then you hear the album L.A. Woman. They were contracted to do 7 albums. They did 5 original ones, and then one was a compilation, and one was a live album.
Okay.
Really, 5 albums? That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting paid a lot of money for it, it's not that much money.
You don't have to do much work to make an album like we could do right now.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Yeah,
We're doing it. Music.
Guys, I hate to tell you, this isn't going to sell anything. This might actually get people to turn off our free podcast.
Tom, shut up. This is going to restart Tower Records. Tower Records will be like, guess what? We're open again.
We have 1 billion of these in stock. Right. So
I think we really got something there.
As I mentioned before, Led Zeppelin showed up on the scene, and Jim was really bothered by Robert Plant's overt stage sexuality. It kind of fucked his mind up because Jim used to be a sex icon, and now he was just a pudgy, bearded man. He was hairy all over his body,
Those are
and
opposites.
he knew in his heart that he would never be in shape again because he wasn't going to do anything.
I mean, Robert Plant is smooth as hell. He could on a slip and slide. I've seen Robert Plant on a slip and slide, and he just.
You've seen that?
It's hard to see. It's hard to
hour.
see. To be honest.
He hits 88 miles per hour. He shows up in fucking cowboy times.
I've got
There
very
you
good
go.
vision.
So now we have a man whose mantra used to be "kill the father, fuck the mother," and suck my cock or whatever he was saying. And now his new mantra is "rock is dead." He has no faith in the rock music industry. It is 1969. He is over it.
No, I didn't know people said rock and roll is dead even back then. I remember people say it all the time now, but
Yeah, I think he was one of the first guys to say it because he was a cynical
brave.
bastard. He had been doing this for doing stage shows and the whole thing for about 5 years at this point, and he was just like, I feel very old. He was 20. He's 24, 25 at this point, and he's like, he's 25 right now.
my age.
Yeah, but he looks 40 because he has been partying so hard. He looks like Guy Fieri's friend.
And his liver is like 60.
He is beat the fuck up. So they organize a tour because they really need to get some money in. They break it down. They break it down. They're like, all right, so let's do a real tour. Well, let's go over to Europe. Let's give the people what they want. So to kick off the old tour, what they decided to do was go to Miami and do a show there, and then afterwards go to Jamaica just to relax for a couple days, get their head back together, and then go back to Florida, do a couple more shows, and then tour all around, do the whole thing, and then get to Europe, all this shit. So the first day of this string of shows, March 1st, 1969, a concert in the old Diner Key Auditorium. Jim Morrison was arrested on charges of exposing himself on stage.
Oh, he pulled his pee-pee out?
Yeah, he came out raving drunk,
Yeah.
just fed up with everything, taunting all the kids in the front row. He loved to do that. He loved to mess with the people in the front row and just like show his nipples and rub the mic stand on his cock until it was hard. So he's just like, dancing around.
Yeah.
He's got his hand in his pants. He's like, y'all want a strip tease? And they're like, oh, you see that cock? There's just 100 fucking white kids in an auditorium.
What a concert.
100,000 white kids in an auditorium. Be like, let me see that cock. And he's
Let me
like,
see that brown tip.
So he starts
Cock.
dancing around,
Cock.
and all of a sudden, the cops start coming out. So he jumps into the audience. He makes a giant mess. People are doing a conga line the size of Venezuela. He is going nuts. And
His
then they get him
cock's
back.
out.
Well, apparently his cock was never out.
Oh, no.
Oh wow.
But
was
he
being
incited
teased.
the people enough that the police took him in, and they said, "Yeah, get cock out." So, now we have Jim Morrison, who gets out of jail the next day. He's just like, "No big deal. Who cares? They took me to jail, and then we're gonna go to Jamaica right now and unwind." So Jim went to his Jamaican farmstead that he rented, and then he was like, "Oh fuck, I forgot I hate black people." And then on his way back, he calls his he left Jamaica a couple days early, I believe, earlier than expected. They were going to be there for a week. Calls his manager, and the manager's like, "Yo, don't fly into Miami. They are looking for you, sir."
Makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because they arrested him for one charge, but they didn't get him for the caca pee-pee thing. So now they got him for inciting the riot. He's off on that, but now they're like, "Oh, we're going to get him for the pee-pee." So he flies to L.A. instead.
I love this explanation, Tom. This is a premium. Again, Tom, premium reporting.
I'm trying
Love
my
it.
best to be factual and honest. So now he's got caca pee-pee problems, so he goes over to L.A. and he spends some time there. And by this point, the FBI actually has a file on him.
Well,
Wow.
Whoa. Okay. So if you really
Wow.
want to hide your pee-pee, hide it in something. That's what I found.
Like a
It's
fleshlight.
Probably. No,
Yeah.
like a brown anus.
Wow.
bag.
Like where poopy comes out of. Where poopy comes out of, you could just hide it in there.
Are you brown bagging your penis, Mike? That doesn't fool anyone.
Maybe it does.
Maybe.
Well, anyway, the FBI's got a file on him. Nixon wants to take this guy down because he's like talking shit about this war that his dad started to everyone. He's like, "Oh, Vietnam, Nixon, bad people." So Nixon's like, "I want him done." J. Edgar Hoover's like in drag going, "I want him out of here too."
But I secretly want to have his peenie.
Right, exactly. So he formally gets tried, and the trial does not begin until 1970. The prosecution trotted out the witness who claimed to. They tried out a bunch of witnesses who were shocked at the scene that they saw of this man's willy out on stage. But it turns out that every single witness that they brought in was related to a cop, and not all of them can prove they were there.
What
and
the
there
fuck?
there were thousands of people taking photos, and they collect all of them, and there's no pictures of pee-pee.
Oh my god! So like, there's a
Really?
judge like literally doing his best to like find a Morrison dick pic in a sea of just media.
Yeah, there were professional photographers there who were snapping away. There was a whole bunch of people with
You
their
bet
cameras
they
there.
would have gotten a penis.
That's why I say he didn't take out his pee-pee, because there's no evidence
Right.
at all.
Someone's like, "Is that a pee-pee?" And it's like, "No, sir. We see a fingernail there. I think that's his index finger sticking out of his fly."
Right.
Here's him eating a Vienna sausage.
Oh, classic.
Dropping it.
So his lawyer, Jim Morrison's lawyer, Max Fink, he's all like, "Your Honor, there's no evidence that he took out his pee-pee. But if there was, he's an artist. He should be allowed to take his pee-pee out for the sake of art.
Your
So
Honor.
even if you do find evidence, well, we shouldn't even be looking at it. He's an artist, goddammit."
Don't look
Yeah,
at his
I mean,
penis.
this is pre Yoko Ono, but I mean, Yoko Ono is just a pile of trash, and they can call her an artist, and she can do whatever she wants.
Right. She
can
gets
take
away
her
with the
pee-pee
art
out.
murder. I can't wait till she's dead.
5 times
So-
college.
Yeah, at college.
So now we have Jim Morrison on trial. It is not going well, even though there's no evidence against him whatsoever.
Now it's not going well.
So, as I mentioned, they had planned this whole tour that was going to put the Doors back on their feet financially. Now they don't have that money anymore.
Yeah.
So this fucked everything up further. They weren't allowed to go anywhere. They weren't allowed to do the tour. So, the judge who tried Jim Morrison was actually up for re-election through the state.
Oh no.
And the state had a boner for decency. So he was going to put Jim Morrison in jail no matter what.
Yeah.
So at the end of the trial, Jim Morrison found guilty. He's facing up to 8 years in jail. I mean, no,
For
not 8
showing
years.
pee-pee
Eight
on
months.
stage?
Excuse me, 8 months. No, it's
Okay.
an 8-month penis,
Okay.
not an 8-year penis.
Okay. That's still a long time. You know, I like to show my pee-pee off to people that would like to see it.
It's way too much time.
Thank God this is a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're my friends. You've seen my pee-pee. But like,
Right. But
The
Ma-
bleachers once.
So Max Fink actually applied for the he started the appeal process right away. So Jim actually never went to jail. He actually brought checks with him, a whole bunch of different pre-signed checks that had different amounts on them based on the bail. So when they said we need this bail, he would just be able to hand it over.
Right.
Keep the change.
69.
Yeah, and like rip up the other ones,
662.
you know, whatever it was. So he gets him out. Now he's He's out on bail. So Jim's out on bail now. He hates the Doors. He hates his life. He's, he reaps what he's sowing. He's just a pain in the ass.
Crybaby.
Yeah. So now he's got this hovering over his head. He could be going to jail, and he's just hemorrhaging money. And he's got this shitty fucking girlfriend, Pam, who's spending all of his money on setting up a boutique clothing store that no one goes to. That ended up losing a lot of money.
Spencer's?
If Spencer's had any worth, yes. It was. They did a really nice job setting the shop up, and there were a lot of famous people who shop there. Miles Davis frequented the place, but it was still in the tank a shit ton of money because they spent like $250,000 on getting it set up. And she was a heroin addict.
I'm going back to what Cody said, like, it just didn't have the right model. I mean, they should have had more Rick and Morty shirts, more Joker t-shirts.
Pocket chains.
Maybe some bongs in the back.
Hot
because
Topic?
they're a little edgy. Spencer's.
Oh, yes. Spencer's, okay.
Right. So, as I said before, Jim Morrison is a type of guy from which picture painting is perfect. Now you kind of know the guy. His entire career when it comes to shows was either the following. He got to a show and he put on the best performance of his life and everyone remembered it forever, or he got to a show and then got too drunk to perform and threw up everywhere, or he got to a show 3 hours late and the show was canceled. That's like most of Jim Morrison's life.
Or he didn't show up.
Yeah, he didn't show up at all. So we're going to slowly get into how he died.
Oh.
Slow.
So someone asked me how I'm going to start telling you about how he died.
So, okay. So, unlike his anal sex, how did he slowly enter death? Did he use butter? Did he not?
He
what?
he entered hella ways. So Jim records the L.A. Woman album with the Doors. At this point, there's less tension because Jim is all right with absolving creative control. They're kind of on better terms, but he also knows that he's done with the Doors. He's going to quit after this because their Elektra album's up. Contract's up. So he's feeling the heat from this Miami trial, and several sources hint at the FBI doing everything in their power to smother the Doors and Jim Morrison. So to avoid jail time or working with his bandmates ever again, he flew over to Paris to live with Pamela in a
oh no.
In a stupid apartment.
A little gay Paris!
Yeah, he got gay Paris, all right. So he never sees the Doors again. He doesn't see a lot of his friends again. He's done with the LA lifestyle.
I mean, I feel like, all right, I knew where he died. I don't know. I don't exactly know how he died because everyone's like, oh, do you go to Paris? You see fucking Jim Morrison's grave that had someone ate KFC and left the bucket there.
There you go. Yeah, pretty much. So
the only
in Paris,
KFC in Paris is right next to Jim Morrison's grave.
I believe it. I mean, he probably would prefer it that way because he just liked eating meat and shit. He had a good taste. There was a reason he was fat. Let's put it this way: he lightened up on the drinking. He was just
not on the physical stature. But
yeah, no, he did lose a little bit of the weight, a little bit. It wasn't a lot though. I mean, you gotta you don't see a lot of images of how fat he was getting. So in his final days, he had slimmed down a little bit. He had stopped drinking as much, but he still would drink and drug every now and then. He had his binges, but he wasn't like get blackout every night like he was. He was a lot calmer than he was the last few years.
That's why he died, because he wasn't blacking out every night. That's how you're supposed to go to bed.
That's why Andrew WK is still alive, I think. But he just huffs paint.
Yeah, huffs
doesn't
paint.
count if it's paint.
Yeah,
he's actually sponsored. He's actually sponsored by Exxon. He moved up. He's not huffing paint. He's huffing gas.
Better for you.
Yes. So now we have Jim Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
He's age 27. He's in the 27 club.
Uh-oh.
July 3rd, 1971. Jim Morrison is found dead in his bathtub in his shitty apartment by his terrible girlfriend, Pamela.
Mm.
The The circumstances are fairly unclear, as the official cause of death was heart failure and there was no autopsy.
Oh, lazy Parisian fucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
they do not do autopsies unless there's
Reason to?
murder. They're looking for murder.
Well, they're
That's
like,
it.
I don't know. He
Yeah.
was the American. He has McDonald's. It's heart failure.
They knew why he died. He was a fat piece of
Yeah,
shit in a hot
exactly.
tub.
Yeah, I love this like dumb chain that the police follow. It's just like, well, we don't know. He was murdered because we didn't cut him open, and we're not going to cut him open because we don't know he was murdered.
All right. So let's talk about some theories and conspiracies, because this is a little fun.
A boomer loves a good conspiracy.
Woo!
That's why they're still probably talking
Yeah.
about how did Jim Morrison die? Who the fuck cares?
Well, there's a
Reptiles.
really fun one that I got
Okay.
for you. So, big theory is that Jim died of a heroin overdose.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Jim loved his cocaine. He loved his acid. Although at the end of the life, he just stuck to drinking. He wasn't really a junkie. If you're an alleged badass, you may have snorted heroin once, and it's
Ooh.
not necessarily as addictive as a intravenous junkie
Yeah.
would experience. So there's a casual heroin user which just takes a bump here and there. That's kind of what he was doing.
Hmm.
Okay.
So there was a particularly strong load of heroin making its way through Paris that summer that killed a lot of people. And Jim could have very easily taken a bump of that shit. And after years of abuse, his body gave out.
Right, his heart's already fucked. He's eating steak dinners smothered in butter all night and like for like 7 days. 7
Extra
days,
butter.
7 nights, the steak's been smothered in butter. And he's there, he's like, I've been drinking since I was 12, and I'm gonna do a little bump of heroin. Dead.
Right.
Number one.
Great
That could
reenactment,
happen.
Travis.
So
Loved
there's an additional fold to the story that could be added, which is a gentleman named Sam Burnett owned a club that Morrison used to visit from time to time. And he claims that Morrison died in a toilet cubicle in his Paris club in 1971 after he believes to be a heroin overdose. Now, two drug dealers that sold him the shit took Morrison's body back to his apartment and dropped him off in the bathtub after trying to revive him, which didn't fail.
Wow.
Option number two.
Holy shit.
Really nice heroin drug dealers that don't want you to die in the toilet, that move your body. They're like, guess what? This guy's a pretty nice guy. I like him. He buys a lot of our product. I'm not going to let the public see him dead on the toilet. Let's move him back to his bathtub.
Paris is weird.
It is a weird place. Another theory is that Pam had lied to Jim the night of his death when he asked her what that white powder was on the coffee table. When she said Coke, it was actually heroin. She was a junkie. Keep in mind, she's the one nodding off all the time. So then he proceeded to Uma Thurman himself, and John Travolta just so happened to not be there that night.
Got it. Beautiful.
Another theory is that Jim faked his death as the only people.
All right, this
Who
is
claim-
wait, hold on. This before you get
I
into
doubt
it.
that.
This is
Okay.
the most boomer of the theories.
This goes boomer to zoomer very quickly.
Okay.
Sure.
Watch
Show
this shit.
Tupac.
Okay.
Right. So now the theory is that Jim faked his death, as the only people who claimed to see the body was Pam, Pam's heroin boyfriend, who Jim was cucking around, and some French government officials. Jim
Tom.
had enough money coming in from L.A. Woman where he could have easily paid off these people to make this happen. Like I said, the body was buried, no autopsy, just kind of put in the ground.
Mhm.
This would solve
Uh-oh.
the issues with the doors. This would solve the issues with the law and the 20 pending paternity suits that he had going on.
Holy shit.
Okay.
Ooh.
So this absolutely happened. I think he went down to Brazil, hung out with Hitler, lived out a full life. But then also, can we start a chicken place called Cucking Around?
What do we sell?
Chicken.
Chicken.
The whole bird?
Chicken.
Or
Yeah.
fingers?
I don't know.
Well, we do a sandwich.
No,
Maybe we have a stab-worthy sandwich.
No, you know what? We don't
You
do
have sandwiches
We don't
there.
do sandwiches. We sell turkey, but we call it chicken, but it's one of those medieval times turkey legs.
Oh, like a big ass turkey leg.
Cucking around because that's a big ass dick your wife is getting. You're cucking around.
Yeah, a Blake.
Yeah, fair enough.
Damn.
Now,
Big black
Check
chicken.
that place out.
now, let me take that very, Travis, as you mentioned, that very boomer theory. And when I mentioned how it goes zoomer, that happens now.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, if he did fake his own death and disappeared, he returned into the spotlight as none other than Rush Limbaugh.
What? Presidential recipient of the Medal of Honor or whatever the
Correspondent,
fuck he just got?
yes, conservative correspondent and
What's his
radio.
name? Rush who?
Limbaugh.
Oh, what?
L-I-M-B.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah, look at him. He looks just like pull up Jim Morrison,
He does not
Rush
look
Limbaugh.
like Jim Morrison.
Look it up.
He kind
Look
of
it up.
does.
All
If
right.
he
Yeah,
lost
he
all
does.
his hair.
All right.
Perhaps his
doing it.
untraceable
Oh, there is a
past.
comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, perhaps
Look at these
this.
photos.
Per-
You type it on Google Images, it comes up.
So perhaps his untraceable past and a rekindling of a relationship with his
All right.
estranged, high-ranking military father was able to make this happen.
All right. I kind of see that. I admit. I tap out. Right now, my face is on the dojo.
Whoa.
Right now, my face is on the dojo mat, and I have just put on a tap out shirt.
But yeah, look at that shit, man. They look very, very similar, and we already know that Jim Morrison was losing hair and gaining a lot of weight quick. So he could have disappeared to somewhere in China or somewhere fucking in the Middle East, the Tangiers, and held out there. And this man was filled with hate. Can you think of another American correspondent filled with hate more than this guy,
Never.
Rush Limbaugh, who is dying right now? So we might be roasting Jim Morrison preemptively. Because
Sick.
last time I heard, Rush Limbaugh has terminal cancer, and he's on his way out.
Dude, this is actually kind of creepy.
He's had terminal cancer since like 1982.
No. Now they really got him. Now he's in a butt.
Well, the one thing I will say about right-wing correspondents is they do. I feel like when they take the job, they start looking like a Sith Lord.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
how it
think,
works.
and I think that Rush Limbaugh is probably like the king of them. But I see where I'm looking at pictures of Jim Morrison, and it looks like he's a young Anakin. Right? He's an Anakin. He's I'm a good boy. Look at me, I pod race.
Picture.
And now all of a sudden, like mask off, Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Isn't it just something else?
Wow.
I started looking into this. I saw this joke, and now I realize it's not a joke.
Oh no! Isn't that just sad?
Is that why
Yeah.
he got? Because Trump knows, like he knows. Is that why he received the recipient thing? Guess what? Best musician of all time had his tits
best
out
guy.
and his dick out.
Rush Limbaugh.
Who else?
Trump and I, we shared an anus in the 80s together. We both entered the same anus.
Right. I mean, you have Trump, a guy who's just doing his job, but then he's also very questionable, and he's giving an award to a man who, in his youth, used to scream the N-word all the time. That sounds like
Lines
a
up.
Trump guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can think on that one. Pam died 3 years later of a heroin overdose.
Weird.
And I'm sure those two people are having a great time throwing plates and knives at each other in hell right now.
No, CIA
Yeah.
cover up. They got to get rid of Pam. They had to get rid of her. She knows the
Loose
secrets.
end.
Well, who is Pam? Is Pam now fucking Carrot Top?
Yes.
Because she's a redhead.
Yes.
Pam is
I
now
think so.
celebrity chef Paula Deen. Boom.
That's fantastic.
You just spike a White Claw?
Yes.
Anyway, so that's Jim Morrison, aka Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, there you go. The truth comes out.
Yep. Man, they look so much alike.
They do.
Very creepy.
Yeah, that's freaky.
I think Tom, we came out with this episode too soon. Should have waited like 9 months when he's dead.
I could have waited. Oh God, Mike's sending
Jesus, Carrot
photos of Carrot Top.
He
All right, so
he's gross.
That's how we know to end the show when Mike starts doing that.
Oh,
All right, so now I'll just end the show. You got, or how about someone else ends it? Because I always do that. Oh, okay, thanks everyone for listening. No one likes to hear my. I've been talking all episode.
Cody,
Weird.
you know how to talk with your mouth.
love hearing
I
that.
don't.
All right.
Yeah,
Fuck
take
it.
us out.
All right, that is our boy Rush Limbaugh. Rest in peace. Thank
Fuck
you
Carrot Top.
for tuning in. And Mike's going to keep spamming Carrot Top, so we're phoning this one in. Thank you for listening. Patreon.com/roastmortemcast. Give us your ducats there. Everything else, just Google us. We love you. Thank you for sitting here.
Shane.
Thank you, Shane.
Riders
times.
on the storm. Riders on the storm.
Only 16 lyrics.
Into shrimp. Oh no, my mic.
God.
Oh my. Oh my.
Did you
God.
unplug your mic?
Yeah,
Just a
I kind
fucking
of unplugged
wreck.
it, but into the shrimp palm. Like a boy with a child, shrimp boy will never chill. Trying to chill with Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you,
I don't
Shane.
know.
Thank you
Th-
kindly.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks for dealing with
Bye.
that one.
Love you. Peace.
Peace.
Well, that was fun.
That was a good boy.